on, going deep. That man's on someone's shoulders. The water truck gets that one. Go around, go around.
We go from extremely hot and dusty to this.
I'm pretty just okay. We're gonna go with all right.
All right.
Yeah. It could be a lot worse.
How's the track?
It could be a lot worse. Actually, compared to how it started out, it's actually beautiful right now.
Not good. What I hear rattling? Well, this was actually started out as a smoothie. It's turned into an icy. It's a slushy. That's a slushy. Oh yeah, we're gonna get in that RV, dude. We're gonna hit that Florida line, open those windows up, let the hot air come back in. That's right.
God, this guy's back. What? I thought I was done with this.
You want to be done with this? You want out of it?
I mean, do we ever truly get out of it though? We got shorts on still. It's 44 degrees. Why would you wear pants when it's 44 degrees out? I'm probably gonna go down to a sleeveless before Kate's start.
How are you today?
I feel pretty good. Cold weather like New York.
Yeah. It's like
I like the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do pretty good in the mud.
Yeah.
And I like this track.
You go, no, I'm not a fan. Do I look like I'm a fan? I got a sweatshirt on. Did you bring this weather from the mountains? Sure you didn't. Well, let's blame it on let's say like Hunter Hart, New York native. Even though he's coming from Florida, he still brought it here. He probably was. Smoothie and a strawberry like he always is. He is something else, you know it?
How you feeling today?
A little windy.
You know, we got some things figured out. We've worked on some things in the last week, and we came out strong the last 2 rounds. Had some issues. We're gonna try it again.
Hurt my shoulder, and trying to had to ride the kid's quad out for him.
I saw you fall down over there.
Yeah, I almost got ran over. I was sucked in.
And the checkered flag in the up, and there it is. Bang! Is Cody Collier in the one spot. Landon Wolf checks in right behind him.
It was fun. I knew I had a little bit of a gap on that last lap, and I knew they'd be coming in the lockers because they kept on getting closer and closer every time I looked back that last lap. They were like 3 seconds behind the finish. But good day, a lot of fun. Didn't get much juice. Yeah.
Well, that's honestly not so bad. That first lap was a lot of wild water, but that wasn't so bad. I mean, it was fun. I don't really like this track too much, so to come out with a second, I'm pretty happy. You know, Mason, we'll take it. The sun's shining, we're here.
It's a mud mess. Yeah. I just clicked off everyone as fast as I can. The 2 liters, luckily, they got stuck, but that helped me a lot, but we got it done.
Walker's talking about being hot down in Florida. Well, this is kind of like more like my territory. So it's 35, bundled up, you know, just poopy weather. So this is me.
Got free race protein.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Bubba. Riri, look what we got, man. Oh yeah. I gotta hook him up right now. One for me, one for him. I only get mine if I do good later.
It's not so much the cold as it is the wind, but yeah.
The wind chills look really nice.
It's I'm gonna try to go real fast so I can stay warm.
Yeah, absolutely. Great logic. How you feeling?
Cold.
That's all you got.
Other than that, I feel really good. Ready to go.
I just want to bring this up real quick. Walker was telling us how warm it was down in Florida. Well, these Ohio boys are used to this coldness, so you better be
I already
ready.
heard that from one other person.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I think it's a Kroom thing, maybe, possibly.
He took his blood pressure meds, so he's good.
Aren't you hilarious? Do you laugh at everything he says?
Nearly.
He's paid to laugh at everything.
Oh,
I
he's
say.
paid to laugh
Yeah.
at everything I say.
I got a posse of guys that I pay so they think I'm funny.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Apologize for that, folks. Hey, again, if you're just now tuning in here on Racer TV, want to welcome you guys in here watching with us at home. To say the least, it is windy. Very windy. So windy, in fact, it's been chaos out here. We got some rain last night, and I know what you guys are thinking at home. Yeah, at least you don't have snow if you're up north.
And there is Walker Fowler as he takes the checkers and the win. Your general GNCC champion and overall winner.
Hey. How about Kyle? Roger? Yeah. Yeah, one of my high school, actually elementary and middle school buddies was on the start line. So that was cool. I haven't seen him in a couple years, but yeah, kind of nice. Man, are my hands cold. Another year at the General. It's friggin' freezing. I'm so cold. It can't be 35 degrees. I'm soaking wet. I thought I cut my pee-pee off. Swear to God, I hit the gas tank that hard. I was like, oh, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone.
So you're good.
I haven't checked, but it doesn't hurt anymore. So.
It's good. It's good to be back. Had the whole shop. Ended up got something in my front wheel. Literally a mile in. Locked the front wheel up. I felt it probably 6th or 7th. And then from there, just had to dig myself out of the hole. Track got real deep in some spots, and then just kind of just about keeping forward momentum. And we were able to, you know, hook up and just keep rolling. And then last lap, I was 4th, right behind Bryson. Gavin Walker got stuck in one of the mud holes.
Bryson went out way wide. I jumped in, crossed back onto the good line where they were stuck in, and got Bryson there, led from there. Had absolutely no clutch that last lap. It was completely smoked. Bryson literally pulled up next to me in the field and just trucked on by. But no, it was good. It was really good. It was a good day. Good. That's I think that's just honestly what it took was me just being up there, being able to get in the mix with them, and it came back quick once I had it, you know. And I was definitely faster in some spots on the track. They had a little bit more, and yeah, it was good though.
Hey, Hey, that still deserves a slip, man. I don't know. If you talk to my little man, I don't think he'll back that. He says first or second, Dad. If not, then you're out. So I think he deserves a Slim Chip.
That was a really good battle today.
Oh man, it was hectic. It was crazy. That last lap, there was just so much shuffling. I mean, it was nuts. Went from like all the way back from second to sixth, to fourth, to third, to second, to third. It was just like holy crap. But it was nuts. So, but I'm happy.
Hey, it was a good time track. Do you like that kind of style track, or you like something more open and fast?
You know, I like it all, to be honest with you, but the older I get, I don't know what it is, I'm becoming more of a fair weather racer. I just like it to be just dry packed, hard, and just fast as heck. So it's not as bad as the mud races what I thought it was, but it was a very good general. It was. For the weather we got last night, it turned out to be great.
Happen to make some noise for your top three! Popping bottles on the GNCC podium. Get you some cheers. That sweet, sweet taste of a podium finish right there. One more time, your top three: Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, and Walker Fowler.
It's actually cold, so it's delicious.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship, the 2022 GNCC Series, presented by Specialized and AMA National Championship. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes. Today we are in Union, South Carolina for our fourth stop on the Grand National Cross Country Series Trail, but our second stop here in Union, the Big Buck Farms, this time for the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. And as you take a look, we are in full celebration mode as we are all Joe Exotic. And actually we're here to celebrate the Clemson Tigers. Sure. And of course, this being the Tiger Run, it only makes sense that we kind of dress up like tigers. Some of our track crew are celebrating it with us this weekend as well. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, Mikey, as we roll into this fourth round of racing. And already the intensity is beginning to build because, I mean, there's so many things that have taken place on both the two and the four-wheel side of things, because we probably got the best track conditions and the best weather that we've had all season combined, I guess you could say. And it looks like that we've probably got what could be the best race we've seen so far this season as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Rodney. And things starting to click now for both Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal, starting to see them rise to the top. Hunter Hart, finally, Hunter Hart has a good race in Georgia. That's where we expect to see him up there battling with Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler. So he desperately needs, it's do or die time for him still. He needs to start clicking off those podiums. So I think look for Hunter Hart to have a good day here today. But I can't argue with the results that Bryson Neal is pushing out here at this property.
No doubt about it. I mean, when you look at history, I think he won both rounds last
Correct,
year.
Yeah.
He won the opening round this year. He's coming off of a 2-race dry spell, and the one thing they don't want to do is give Walker Fowler that 3-race win streak in a row. Once he gets going, he's going to be tough to slow down. He's going to have that momentum. He's going to have that confidence, and he's inching his way towards win number 75. He has established 70 wins already. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on with Walker as he goes for his 8th championship. He's looking for hoping to get that all-time wins record and steal that away from Chris Borch at number 75. But these guys have all got to step up. And speaking of stepping up, we've had a lot of the young guns stepping up. I mean, when we look at points right now, it's kind of interesting to see. Now, they're tight still, and it's still obviously only 3 rounds in. As you see, Jared McClure, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Adam McGill are all 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you've got the young guns of Devin Feehan, John Glotta in that 3 and 4 spot right now. And not too far lurking back there from row number 2 even is Jay Shadron, who is currently 9th in points, and he's not real far behind as far as the overall points are concerned. So, you know, like we said, some interesting things shaping up. The one thing that is not so interesting for Bryce Neal right now is he's watching that points lead open up just a little bit. Today, though, is an opportunity for him to close that one back up.
Yeah, it is interesting for Bryson Neal, who is coming off a podium, but it was a 3rd place on the podium. He had Hunter Hart in between him and Walker Fowler. You think, well, hey, on my good days, if I'm still on the podium, that's a good day. That might not be the case this year. I mean, if you are not winning, if you're Bryson Neal, if you're not winning, if you're Walker Fowler, you better hope you got second, because that could be the difference when it comes down to Ironman at the end of the year.
That's a very good point. When you've got 2 riders that are riding that consistently against one another, it's going to take one of them making some major mistake. It's going to take a major mechanical that takes them out, that gives them some point separation, if anything like that happens. So this season is going to be very interesting from both a technical aspect as well as a racing aspect. And as we look back to row number 2, we have got a barn burner going on in that one in the XC2 Pro-Am class right now as well, Mikey.
Yeah, no doubt. Jay Shadron is doing his thing out front. Convincing win just a couple of weeks ago down in Georgia. But Brandon Owens, he's right there, finished in the 2nd place position. And, of course, in 3rd was Wyatt Wilkin. And I want to give a shout-out. His dog Moose made it on the podium as well.
Hey, I tell you what, Moose deserves to be up there as hard as Wyatt has had to work. This guy, I tell you, if he could start out as hard as he finishes and as strong as he finishes, I don't know if anyone would be able to touch him. There would probably be a 20-minute gap the way he's been riding here lately. I mean, obviously that's an extreme exaggeration, but whenever you see him go down in that 1st or 2nd turn, and he is dead last behind about 27 or 28 other XC2.
It's a long day.
That's a long day, and then he comes out with a podium position finish, and that's the kind of things that he's had to be working against so far this season. You got Brandon Owens, who's had some pretty good runs this season as well, and he is one of those kids that we are watching, he and Wyatt. But as we say, there's several of those guys that we're watching right now, and we're going to be keeping very close eyes on these all these guys as they make the transition, many of them from that College A, and now becoming players in the XC2 Pro-Am class.
No doubt about it. Well, hey, we've talked shop about the point standings, who's doing what. We need to see what this track is going to look like. What changes did they make from Big Buck when we were here for round 1? We'll throw it to Jared Bolton with the Yamaha track description.
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to the Big Buck Farm. This time it's the Tiger Run GNCC. A little bit different than what we rode here a month ago. We put in some different sections, of course, used some stuff we hadn't used in a long time, and actually even found some opportunity to use some new sections. There's a couple of valleys that the motorcycles will use, a couple of trails the quads will use that are different from the bikes. A little something for everybody. I know, you knew I was going to say it. But that's true when you come here to Big Buck. It's a little bit on the faster side, but we've added in some single track, added in some tighter trails, really mixed it up this time. It feels completely different than the Big Buck. That's because this is the Tiger Run. Totally different race. We want to mix it up. Don't want you to feel like you're coming back and riding the same thing twice. So I feel like we've done a good job with that. Should make for some great racing. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Jared. And Mikey, I tell you what, we're dressed up for the occasion and ready to go. It's Tiger style here at the Tiger Run GNCC. What's going to happen? Stick around to find out. It's going to be exciting, I can promise you that.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live as we are here on the starting line at the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC, we know and love as the Big Buck Farms here in Union County, South Carolina. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please rise. Remove those caps and cross those hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world. Being performed today, our national anthem by Union County native Miss Amy House.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow, what an amazing rendition of our nation's anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Miss Amy House, Union County native from right here out of South Carolina. Thank you again, Amy, and a long-lived tradition as far as Big Buck and Tiger Run GNCC Racing is concerned. And speaking of Tiger Run GNCC Racing, we're about ready to go. But before we can get this show underway, let's take this moment to meet our starting lineup for this, the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. Our XC1 Pro Class Premier Racers starting on road number 1 today, lining up in accordance to points to the first 3 rounds of GNCC Racing here in the 2022 championship season. And rolling to the line first today, he rides aboard the number 1, hailing from Rogers, Ohio. 7-time and 70-time overall winner, GNCC racer on the WFR GBC Fly Racing Factory Yamaha, Walker Fowler. He took the win here at the season opening round of the Big Buck GNCC just a couple of months ago. Riding aboard the number 241 from Bidwell, Ohio on the Magna 1 Motorsports backed Yamaha, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line today, 3rd in points. He rides aboard the number 406. He hails out of New York, Windsor, New York on a GBC Fly Racing 9.2 B&R back ride, the number 7 of Devin Feehan. Riding aboard the number 712, he's 4th in points out of Waxhaw, North Carolina on the Pierce Performance GBC Tires Fly Racing Yamaha of John Glodden Jr. 5th in points, riding aboard the number 3 from Casca, Pennsylvania on the JMR GBC Elka Moose Racing backed Honda of Jared McClure. He rides aboard the number 2, fresh off a podium just a couple of weeks ago from Newfield, New York on the original Formula 88 Ithaca Recreation Sports backed Yamaha of Hunter Hart. And rolling to the line, Next, he is 7th in points aboard number 733 from Edinburgh, Pennsylvania on the Getter Nissan Kinda Action Off-Road Richardson Racing Yamaha, the Cold Train, Cole Richardson. 8th in points aboard the number 521 from Waverly, West Virginia on the Over Tires, Moose Racing Parts Unlimited Honda, Adam McGill. 9th in points, riding aboard the number 6 from Akron, Ohio on a Merritt Racing BNR Motorsports GBC Tires backed Yamaha of Josh Merritt. He is 10th in points, a 75-time overall winner and 6-time GNCC champion from Sunbury, Pennsylvania on the GBC Action Off-Road Fly Racing Amsoil Yamaha, Chris Borich. Riding aboard the number 703 from Petersburg, Indiana on the Abney Racing Action Off-Road Maxxis Yamaha, Austin Abney. Last year's XC2 Pro-Am overall champion from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the Bulletproof Doors BNR Motorsports Sense Graphics back Yamaha, the 714 of Ronnie Rush. And the number 15 from Aurora, Ohio on the GBC Fly Racing Factory Yamaha, Johnny G. Johnny Gallagher. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this Tiger Run GNCC. And as our riders find their way onto the starting line and pick their start positions for the kickoff of round number 4, we look to our trusty DJ Judd, as he exits the stage and climbs aboard the R-Max 1000 Yamaha. We ask our DJ one more time, DJ Judd, remove the meat. That's right, the Monster Energy Activation Transport, aka meat, here at the GNCC Racing Nation, making its way out of that first turn region and headed to the back of the starting line as it finds its post for the start of today's race. And speaking of post, posted up in turn number 1, our official start man and finish line flagger, Mr. Ricky Tower, as he gets set to ready these riders for a 2-hour battle. Walker Fowler coming off a 2-win race streak. Can he make it 3 in a row? Bryson Neal took the win here a year ago. He also took the win here a couple of months ago to kick the season open. Can he rebound back and chip away at some of those championship points? Or will someone new rise to the occasion as the winds of change begin to blow here in South Carolina? 1 minute away from seeing green flag action here in Union, South Carolina. Ricky Towers steps up now into that first turn one more time. This time the blue flag will be waving. It will signal the dead engine call and for our riders to quiet and hush the starting line. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. The blue flag is out, and we are now less than 30 seconds away from going racing. And I got to ask you, South Carolina, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Come on, guys, I can't hear you. We were here a couple of months ago, and you blew the doors off the place. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. Around that first turn, the roll, and it's side-by-side action, and that is Adam McGill grabbing the whole shot, the extra $250. That is Walker Fowler in that number 2 position. The Gator is growling today, folks. XC2 Pro-Am. Jay Shadron, Albert Jadis, also Shane McMillan, Grayson Ella, Brendan Owens, Nick Royalty, Daniel Peters, Chase Allison, Wyatt Wilkin, Dylan Walraven, Steve Harrell, and Tanner Walker in 10 seconds. And XC2 are off and rolling. And it is the 9:26, Tanner Walker from Berlin, Pennsylvania, the 9-2 crew, B&R Motorsports Kenda tire back machine. As we go to the Junior A 22 plus class, coming up next, Jeremy Ladon, Brady Myers, Bryson Mullahan, A.J. Kuntz. 10 seconds. Henry Moore, Colton Kashuda, also Dason Como, Alex Elioff, Justin Collins, Andrew Hicks, and Justin Miller, Todd Fiddler, Frankie Gress, Travis Enderell, Seth Wilson, Devin Masters, and Caden Ryan. And carnage before the first turn, but in turn 2. 5:01, Seth Wilson from Smock, Pennsylvania, going to grab the early lead here as we go to the Vet A 30 plus class. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, Brad Whitehead, Luke Reeves, Jonathan Fugate, John Arnold, Matthew Silsby, Nick Muno, TJ Barrett, Michael McAvoy, and John Cunningham ready to roll in 10 seconds. And they're off. Who's going to grab the lead? This one's going to be Big Papa P. Oh, it is the 22 machine, Jeff Pickens on the GBC Motorsports Waynesburg Yamaha Fly Racing back ride, Senior A 40 plus class. Coming up next, Zach Phillips, Jeremy Gouchard, Dominic Minichi, Terry Fiddler, also Chris Conklin, Tom Muscala, Neil Pitts, Corbin Knox, and Brian Shaw in 10 seconds. Oh, that looks like someone shut down, but Corbin Knox did. States Stornboro, Pennsylvania's MEK Racing Engines, GBC Fly Racing back ride. Knox taking the early lead in this one. Let's go to the College A, 16-21. Keaton Henderson, Cody Forrester, Jacob Fleming, Ian Burns, Dalton Keys, Thomas Mitchell, Riley Salick, Nathan Dearborn. Also Trevor Furby, Ethan Meyer, Kai Arbogast, Nate Harvey, Tyler Cox, John Ashcraft, also Lane McCormick, Alan Greenwell, Zach Knight, Chance Hickey, Parker Henderson, Corey Vanderliner, Lane Fiddler, Damian Hawkins, and James Glotta, all poised and ready to strike in 10 seconds. Oh, the College A starting way back today. This is going to be interesting to see what their chances at top 20 overall are going to be here today as they are off and going, and that is the 927 Damian Hawkins out of Bear Branch, Kentucky on the Goldspeed Fox Shocks Precision Motorworks machine. Okay, Dad, maybe it's a good thing he did pedal the track yesterday. All right, going up Junior B 22 plus class. Coming up next, we got William Wallace, Jordan Burnett, Dylan Stein, also Michael Donson, Chase Furby. 10 seconds. Justin Cotter, Sean Newhouse, Devin Tracy, Austin Greenwell, Austin Bruni, Colin Dunn, Noah Howard, and Nicholas Blaney. Off and rolling now. And it is 384, I believe we picked that up. Maybe. Can't quite see. We got David Kite coming up next in the Vet B class, along with Matthew Stapleton, Taylor Lazelle, Ryan Simmons, Brian Epley, Derek Hart, and Stephen Moore. Waiting for our starting line to clear for our Vet B 30 plus class in 10 seconds. And they're off. All right, see if we can get the number on these guys here. Ooh. Not sure, that may have been Kite on the 321 machine on the outside. They were all side by side going around that second turn as we go to the Senior B 40 plus class. Tim White, Rick Marino, Scott Wilhelm, Shane Worth, Ivo Pahalik. 10 seconds. Jeff Davis, Jason Disco, Bobby McCauley, Forrest Cross, Mike Reiser, also Robert Stevens, Richie McCauley, and Keith Bird off and rolling. Fist full of fury running up into that first turn now. Oh, yeehaw, that was fun. 602. 602 going to get the early lead. Mark Reiser from Hubbard, Ohio, JFR Motorsports, B&R, and Fly Racing ride. Mercy, as we go to our next class, the College B. 10 seconds. Michael Worth, Denton White, Preston Rapsack, Dylan Sigornalella, Andrew Williams, also Christopher Howard, Connor Brandt, Grant Miller, Keith Lambruno, Alex Gross, Connor Adair, Hayden Hunter, Briggs Lizelle, Evan Grant, and Caden Leonard, on Gavin Temple, Owen Burns, Adam Seifel, Evan Osborne, and the 102 out front, 103, Denton White from Manchester, Ohio, also Blake Bell, Mike Adonis, William Walden, Ryan Mason, Richard Williams, Kane Skinner, and Ricky Surgeon, all off that line there. And that is your final row as they roll into the woods, as we are looking at some 150 plus riders traversing the trails of South Carolina as they get it all sorted out here in round number 4. Who's going to come out on top? The winds begin to blow. Is it the winds of change? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. This is round number 4 of the 2022 Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized and AMA National Championship. We're back in Union, South Carolina for the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Tiger Run GNCC. You are looking at mile marker number 10, as you can see. Again, welcome back from having a word with our sponsors. Again, round number 4, and to get us started, I think we're going to take a look before our leaders come through here. We're going to take a look at our specialized start recap. We'll start with the XC1, and we'll include the XC2 as well. Things getting wild in the XC1. Who knew the Gator would be hungry? Ricky Towery with the waving of the green flag, and jockeying for position is the XC1, and getting a good jump. That is definitely not our XC1. That was our XC2. But that's okay. Tanner Walker grabbed the whole shot out of the XC2. Adam, if you've got XC1, get that dialed up here. So that's all right. We can improv. Nonetheless, Tanner Walker, great start for him out of the XC2 class. This is the XC1. That is Adam McGill right there, the Gator, who was just talking about, taking the whole shot right there for the XC1. And right there, Walker Fowler sitting in that number 2 position. And how about this? A tough break for the man with 75 wins in his career, Chris Borich. If you're just tuning in, he was able to get back on the machine. And as far as we know, he is still running out there. So hopefully nothing too serious. Hopefully he doesn't have to come into the pits. We'll keep you posted on that. Taking a look at the Yamaha Racing track map. A good old-fashioned GNCC here at the Tiger Run. A little different than what we had compared to Big Buck. Everybody who talked about the track this morning loved it. That was the micros, the youth, the morning 4x4s, and the novice riders, as well as the WXC, all had good things to say. Of course, our featured spots, the FMF PowerPoint, the Monster Energy Monster Mile, and, of course, the Method Race Wheels Method Alley included in there as well. So a good race course for us here today. And coming into today, you know, the man who's coming off 2 wins in a row, Walker Fowler, in a second place. He holds the points lead, 85 points on the season to Bryson Neal's 76. Last we saw sitting second place out on the track. We had a chance to catch up with the man with 70 wins prior to today's race. Well, there he is, a man with 70 wins under his belt. That is Walker Fowler. And closing in on Chris Borich. Will he pass him this year? Certainly possible. Chris Borich sits with 75 wins in his career. And you saw the tough start there for Chris Borich. Maybe you can get her whipped here. Taking a look at mile marker number 7. That is the FMF PowerPoint. Kind of piggybacking off what Walker Fowler said. Again, comes in here today, has the points lead. Bryson Neal sits second, Devin Feehan third, Glotta fourth. We talked a little bit about this in the pre-show of, you hear guys talk about, well, hey, I ended up on the podium today. I wanted the win, but if my bad day's a podium day, that's still pretty good. I think, at this point, if you're Walker Fowler or if you're Bryson Neal, that's almost out the window. Yes, a podium's good. Yes, you want the podium, but basically, if you don't win as Walker Fowler or you don't win as Bryson Neal where it stands right now, you better be the guy who finishes directly behind him in second, which was not the case there in round number 3 for Bryson Neal. So you look at the points gap, 76 to 85. Yeah, still pretty close. But as that season wears on, those start adding up. So I think we see a big race today out of Bryson Neal. Right now, last we saw, it's a big race for the Gator, Adam McGill, who took that whole shot away from Walker Fowler. Is he still going to be in the lead when we get here to the FMF PowerPoint? Keep in mind here, this first lap, I believe we bypass the finish line. So it's going to be a little longer than what we will see the rest of the race. But nonetheless, going to be a good one. And a lot at stake for these guys. Of course, Hunter Hart, the man who those first couple rounds, if you asked him, there was no question about it. Hunter Hart frustrated with himself, not performing like he knows he is capable of, and comes out in round number 3 with a second-place finish, which is exactly what he needed to kind of get himself back in the mix of things. Currently sits, Hunter Hart sits 6th in points. Not insurmountable by any means, but no doubt about it, Hunter Hart needs to, if nothing else, click off podiums, if not wins. So we'll see if today maybe we have our third different winner of the season. Maybe Gator turns back the clock, Rodney Tomlin, and he gets him a W today.
Well, I tell you, that is certainly something that needs to be done for the old school GNCC race fan. I mean, and he's still got the ability to perform at that level. There's no doubt about it. But, we got a wind advisory. Wind's blowing out here today, and I said the winds have changed. Could that winds of change be maybe an old school wind blowing?
Hey, maybe. I like
Seminole wind, so to speak.
There you
out
go.
in Gator country.
There you go. I like it. I'm about it. Yeah, I mean, you look at it, and Devin Feehan sits in the number 3 spot in points, correct? Yeah, and John Glotta sits 4th. So you got 2 young guns, if you will, right there. And I'm telling you, John Glotta, I think before the season's up, we see him on a podium.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, we've seen this progression of this rider. I mean, all the way through last season. I've been on the John Glotta Jr. wagon.
Yeah.
Both these seasons, and for good reason. You're going to see why. Right now, he's only 7 points out of 3rd place, only a point though ahead of Jared McClure, and 5 points ahead of Hunter Hart and Cole Richardson. Adam McGill back there in 8th place in points. And if you take a look at that, it's kind of interesting to see how this points break down. How often has it been since you've seen new names, fresh names like this? Normally the old guard is protecting those top 5 for a while until the young guns become the old guard themselves. And, anyway, that's the situation we've got ourselves into. So maybe the wind of change has already been blowing here in the 2022 season. And again, another rider that I've been beating the drum for the last few seasons and was kind of in the letdown mode, I think, as he was about himself, was Devin Feehan. And you alluded to this, I think, last race, Mikey, about how he was really down on himself, and whenever it came out of the summer break, he said, I'm either going to start having fun or I'm going to quit. And obviously he's having fun again because he's doing very, very well. And whatever it was that took that pressure off of him, maybe it was the fact that he just said, I'm done, I'm just going to go play. And all of a sudden, wait a minute, I should have been doing this the whole time. And oftentimes I think riders learn that, and the faster you become and the better you do, the more fun you have. So, and these kids, I mean, you talk about Hunter Hart, you talk about Devin Feehan, you talk about John Glotta. These kids are all used to winning. They come up through the ranks being top of their class. So when they come here, they get a little deflated. But once they get that taste, man, wow, it starts to swell back up, and it becomes a force and threat to be reckoned with. Now, Bryson Neal, on the other hand, a little different than most of the kids. He wasn't a big-time winner in the youth ranks. He wasn't one of those national champion youth caliber riders. He was the kid that basically blossomed after the fact, and he's got himself a great run. And, I don't know where we are on mile markers right now, but I was listening to the radio reports. Ryan Eccles at the 5.5 mile said the top 4, I think it was, were wheel to wheel. He didn't give any indication who was up front. I'm sure that, Adam McGill, Walker Fowler are a few riders that we expect to be up front were just exactly that. And the rest of the riders weren't real far off the pace that they had set either. But right now, as we take a look at this Yamaha live drone action, we're believing this may be our 3rd place ride, and it's a Honda. And by process of elimination, it's either probably Jared McClure or the 521 of course, the Gator Adam McGill. We'll get a better scope of that when we get a little bit closer. And all apologies at the last race at the 10-mile marker coming in. Man, I was having trouble, like a lot of folks, but my monitor, and I felt that there was something more going on than what was really going on. And anyway, it was a big change right there before that. And and I hope to do a little better job for you guys here today. So I apologize in advance if we mess this up. But anyway, looking at this right now, it is a great track, the flowing track. That's one of the things that a lot of people have talked about. DJ Judd, who's been running a little bit of sweep with the track crew this morning, said this is the funnest track he's ridden. I've talked to a lot of folks. Well, the interview that you did with Cody Collier this morning after the race, it sounds like it was just a blast. He had a good time. Brandon Frazier had a good time. I think all those guys really enjoyed the course this morning.
That spoke volumes, because if you weren't here at the track to kind of, and I'm sure you guys will read about it on social media, but in the race report, but the 4x4 Pro class came down to wheel, down to the wire, down to the checkers, and about 2 turns before the finish, Brandon Frazier went for broke, essentially tried to get the pass on Collier. They came together. Frazier comes off the machine. The quad goes rolling. Collier comes through, and, I mean, there's no celebration out of Collier. He's looking over his shoulder like, my God, I hope he's okay. So I'm thinking, man, when Frazier comes off, it's either going to be, wow, great ride, dude, way to go, or it's going to be fisticuffs. Thankfully, as soon as Frazier comes off the track, they're hugging and saying, man, that was wild. What a great race.
You know, and it's good to have those kind of races. It's good to have the kind of racetrack that yields itself. And, you know, I boasted yesterday that this was likely going to be the best weekend of racing we've seen so far in 2022. Weather-wise, I think we're looking at perfect conditions, temperature. We got beautiful sunshiny skies, and it is about 65 degrees. A stiff wind blowing out there, 15 to 20 miles an hour right now. So heat is not a problem or a factor for us today. We do have, like I said, perfect conditions. Perfect conditions as far as this trail is concerned. Earlier in the week, before rain even came in on Wednesday, Jared Bolton said it's dry on top, but underneath there's plenty of moisture under there. And you saw on the start, it was kind of dusty out of turn 1, 2, and 3 through there. But out here in the woods, you can see it's perfect conditions underneath the trees. And even though there's no leaves covering, you know, that moisture is held deep into that soil. And the track is breaking down a lot different today. It's not breaking down, I guess, would probably be the best way to put it. It's holding it. It's a lot more solid, it seems like, today.
Yeah, no doubt. Just keep in mind, folks watching at home, this first lap going to be a little bit longer, I think, than what we see the rest of the day, as they do bypass the finish line there for lap number 1.
Now, lap times, they were somewhere in the neighborhood of, 28 and a half, 29 minutes?
Yeah, it was right on that cusp this morning, at least for the 4x4s, the WXC of literally we had all hands on deck, like watching the clock to see. There's Walker out front. Okay, coming through the pro pits now. So Walker Fowler looks to be our guy. I think that was Bryson Neal in the number 3 spot, and there's a lot of dust. How about that, Rodney?
Well, like I say, in the areas out in the flat where the sun is, it's dusty, but inside the woods, it is absolutely perfection. And even under this dry soil on top, it's nice underneath there. Now, this, you know, we might see that dust die down as the race wears on, especially the more they kick up. But with the wind and the sun at the same time, I have to think it's only going to dry out fast. So it's only going to get worse maybe as the day goes on. So I retract that statement. There's a 621. Is that Wyatt Wilkin?
I believe that is Wyatt Wilkin. Yeah.
In that XC2 class right now. Man, they are 35 minutes into this race already.
Yeah, Wyatt is one of those riders, Rodney, you were talking about, that if he can get those starts dialed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so much speed at the end of the race that the guy can still podium working his way up the pack. But, hey, if he gets a good start, which looks like he has here today, maybe that spells a win for him.
You know, yes, no doubt. He is rolling on rails, so to speak. There is your leaders. That is at the 10-mile marker, Walker Fowler leading this one. Again, second place, that is the number 3,
Jared McClure.
Yeah, and then Bryson Neal back there in the number 3 spot. So our usual players, they're all right there, though. I mean, no one has really stretched anything out, and I have to wonder why that would be right now. I mean, Walker hasn't clicked it up, or if he has, these guys are certainly matching pace right now. But, you know, it is still first lap. They're searching their way through right now, trying to to get the pecking order, I guess you will, into place right now. And with McClure in that number 2 spot, remember, we don't boast about these race speeds oftentimes about Jared McClure in these certain circumstances because we don't necessarily see him like this, but we got to understand he is an explosive rider, and to know and to think that he can keep up with pace of Walker Fowler. We see him do it all the time, working his way through the pack. That's why we call him the sneaky snake. From out of nowhere, Jared McClure sneaks his way into a podium position.
No doubt.
Or a battle for a win even.
Yeah, it's interesting. I got to give a shout-out. My buddy Maverick Smith, Races Youth, comes up to me after his podium, and he's like, Mikey, who's your top 3? I'm scared to say my top 3 on air right now and to be documented, but I will say that Maverick Smith is dead on right now, and if he gets Neil around McClure right now, he's got 1, 2, and 3 dead on. And I might owe him something after this if it stays that way.
How far away are you right now?
I don't know. Where's Hunter Hart? Yeah, Walker, McClure, and Neil right there. You're 1, 2, and 3 right now. So
we should be getting close to the finish line now. So these guys should be coming back out of these woods here pretty soon.
Also, what the heck happened to Adam? Where is the Gator?
I don't know, and that's tough, man. To know he got started so strong. Was hoping for a strong performance and finish out of him today, and he still might be in that pack of riders. We got to remember those guys.
It was tight.
It looks like these guys are just and they may be stretching it out a little bit, but in reality, just a little further back is that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and right there it is. There's 4th right there in the frame. We've got 4 riders right now in the same shot, basically, as they wind their way through the trees here at this Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC.
Walker looking good out front. Oh, yeah, good line choice right there by B. Neal. Testing it out. Bryson not really one to hang back either, Rodney. I mean, he's a guy that's going to push the issue and make Jared McClure feel the pressure right now because Bryson Neal says, I want to battle for wins, and the guy out front right now is the one guy I don't want winning.
Absolutely, and talking with some of the B. Neal pits prior to the race, this is what they were telling us. They were saying he's very upset about those 2 race losses that he took and he suffered, and he's really upset about finishing in 3rd in Georgia. So they said, I've never seen him fired up the way that I see him fired up right now. So this is a little different. A lot of skepticism. Nobody knew what to expect in round 1, but now Bryson, I think, has felt himself out. He knows where he's at and where he stands, and I think he's ready to start winning, but right now he's got to get around McClure and then around Walker Fowler. Fowler finally checks in with lap 1 complete, Mikey. This is going to be nearly 40 minutes. It was actually a 38:55 lap time, 38:57 for Jared McClure, who checks in 2.4 seconds back. Bryson Neal. Then there's Hunter Hart in the number 4 spot. Your pick's not far out of contention right now,
Okay,
Mikey.
Good.
And computer checking in with us now. Devin Feehan in 5th. In 6th, John Glotta. So the young guns are right there. Josh Merritt in the 7th place position. So, Jay Shadron checks in the XC2 Pro-Am. That was not your leader on the 621.
Oh, wow. So Shad was out front.
Yeah. So looks like we got Jay Shadron in-time adjustment, a 20. Wow.
Oh,
27:55. Something happened there. That's a 10-minute faster lap. So something doesn't add up right there right now.
Dude, Neal is all over McClure right now. Basically, since the finish line, Neal has been pushing the issue. Got into a little bit of the open track right there, kicking some dust up, kind of pushed Neal back a little bit. But Neal is forcing the issue right now on McClure, and McClure doing a good job shutting the door.
Hey, I will tell you, whatever's going on with the XC2 Pro-Am class, it has been done with Wyatt Wilkin as well, as he checks in with a 28:18. He is running about 23 seconds off pace of Shadron, but it now has him listed in 2nd place overall. Again, I don't know what's going on, but our leaders checked in at 39 minutes basically, and these XC2 guys are in at 27 and 28 minutes, 10 minutes faster.
And I believe Neal just got the pass on McClure right there for the 2nd place position. And we are, yes.
So right now we're getting that sorted out in timing and scoring, and on the course they'll get that figured out. But right now the race that we're watching is this battle for the number 2 spot. And back in that number 3 position, or number 4 position now, we see
the number 2, I believe, of Hunter Hart still back there knocking on the door. Yeah, I got to find him. I'm going to go do that right there, make it a little bit easier, I think, for us right now. So it's Fowler, McClure, Neal Hart, but actually Neal has gotten around McClure, so now it is in second for that rider. The gap was 2.5 seconds. That gap seems to be opening up just a little bit right now, but not a whole lot more than that. So this is very manageable right now, I believe, for Bryson Neal. And even for McClure to latch on with Bryson, that's what he needs to do at this particular point. Bryson seems to be a little faster, and he needs to latch on with him as Walker Fowler checks in out here now, Mikey, at the 1 mile marker of the Method Alley, and maybe 6 seconds or so separating these front 2, 3, 4 right there, nose to tail coming together. That was Neal McClure, and Hunter Hart is right there in contention for a podium position spot early on.
Yeah, Hunter is there in the mix, no doubt. And let's see, Feehan and Glada. So, man, Adam McGill still has not checked in, if I'm looking at that correct.
I haven't seen. Now, I had Chris Borich on my starting lineup. Did he actually make the starting line? I didn't see.
He did. He had some trouble as well right before he went into the woods right there. Came off the machine. They got him back on the machine. Last we saw, he was still out there going.
Oh, man. Tough break there for the 75-time overall winner and, of course, 6-time GNCC champion. There's the 621 machine. That is your XC2 riders right there. We're seeing physically on the racetrack now. They are still behind. Now, I don't see how – there's got to be something wacky in timing and scoring. I don't think these guys actually are doing that. So, basically, whatever it is, it'll be fixed and rectified, I believe, here in the coming few moments. But Jay Shadron and Wyatt Wilkin, on-time adjustments, very well could be riding the overall, but we'll see for sure. Steve Harrell back in the number 3 spot, Brandon Owens in 4th, and Tanner Walker rounding out the top 5. Man, I tell you, when you look at this, we got a shadow for Walker Fowler, and that is not Peter Pan. I don't know who that is for sure, but there he comes. Bryson Neal, yeah, that's who we're going to assume that is. Keep an eye on that, Mikey. I'm going to dissect what's going on in XC2 Pro-Am class here right now. Harold Owens, Tanner Walker rounding out your top 5, then Dylan Walraven, Daniel Peters, Grayson Eller, Albert Jadish, and Shane McMillan round out your top 10. If that's not a who's who of that XC2 Pro-Am class, doubt. Man, talk about deep classes, and we have a lot of them. Not saying that the Pro class isn't the XC1 class, but this Pro-Am class, again, a lot of young up-and-comers and riders that are still full of that vigor that they need to be in battling for these positions, knowing, thinking, feeling that they belong up front, and that's where they're trying to race to right now. And this is creating some pretty good battles going on now. Jay Shadron is again leading that class by about 24 seconds, but we'll see how this day transpires as time goes on. Right now we are watching the gap between Walker Fowler and that second place ride, whom we believe is still Bryson Neal, whom we are going to call a shadow. At least that's what Adam Gordon has called it. I don't think he's quite in shadow opportunity. He is now.
Yeah.
He is hooked right on the heel of Walker Fowler now as they make their way through these trees. This is the battle for the lead. You're watching on RacerTV.com, GNCC Live. Welcome aboard, folks, as this is lap number 2 in the early part of this race, but we are approaching that 1 hour mark as we are looking at nearly 45 minutes already into this race, and we're just now in the early part of lap number 2.
This is what the folks at home paid to see, Rodney, with their free view of Racer TV. But yeah, no, I think this is what everybody expects to see, and after a lap of racing, hey, you got it. Folks at home, you got it. Walker Fowler out front, Bryson Neal knocking on the door, and we know Bryson, just like with Jared, he's going to push the issue. He does not want to finish second place to Walker Fowler.
Well, what happened? I'll tell you what exactly happened. I think these riders were content. McClure was content. Bryson was somewhat content riding behind Jared as they went through that first lap. But after that, when Walker kind of clicked it up a gear or so and started stretching things out, Bryson said, "It's go time. I got to go with him. Can't let him go." And he didn't. And now we see that he is late chase. He is now right in the rear grab bar region of Walker Fowler. And this is the kind of places that mistakes start to happen.
Ooh, yeah, good battle right there. Let's go, boys. Almost coming together.
Yeah, trying to pick up on what class that might have been coming through the Method Alley right now. That's the 1 mile marker, so I'd say we're probably in that XC2 class where, again, Shadron, Wilkin, there's a little separation between those guys. But, again, you know, everybody's kind of putting it all together out there. And again, right now, as we said, approaching the 45-minute mark, actually with readjustments on the clock. That clock might have been wrong. I was wondering what was going on there. So things have now sorted themselves out a little better as we take a look at the overall, and this is going to make a lot more sense, folks, as timing and scoring checks up with things. Jay Shadron is your overall leader with a 27:55 lap time. A 28:03 for Walker Fowler puts him in second overall. And now Bryson Neal in third place overall after he gets around Jared McClure. So that's the way things are looking right now as we wrap up lap 1. Roll in the lap number 2. Who's going to come out on top as the winds pick up here in South Carolina? Again, we're calling it possibly a wind of change. Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency and my recovery.
I'm 7-time GNCC champion Walker Fowler, and I run GBC.
Like a bullet into the first turn, the number 1 with the pink helmet and pink bars. It is Walker Fowler, the 7th. Fist pump. You should be proud of yourself, Devin Feehan. What a ride today.
I'm Devin Feehan, and I run GBC.
I'm Josh Merritt, and I run GBC.
I'm Chris Borch, and I run
GBC.
Here we are at the round 4 of the Big Buck facility again, ready to go GNCC racing. We were here back in February, ended up with a 3rd overall here at that round. Had a good race going, honestly felt like we had what it took to win, but I had some issues with the clutch that ended up taking me back to 3rd. So excited to get back here today, and like I said, I like this track, and I think we got the setup here to go out and potentially win this thing. So yeah, last round there in Georgia, we had a rough start. We had a crash in the first turn, and the track got real one line because it was muddy, but, we salvaged a 6 for the day. So, just happy to get some points there and come into this round, staying positive and looking to go out and win.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jared put himself in a great position early on here as he opened up in that, the number 2 spot, dropping to 3rd physically, and on time adjustments again. I believe our timing and scoring was off. It was telling us 38-minute lap times for Walker Fowler. It was actually a 28-minute lap time. And regardless, Jay Chadron is your overall leader. This is the second race in a row we've seen this happen. Now, next time around, likely if it stays the same, we'll see him like 6th or 7th or something along that line as he gets caught up with some of the XC1 Pro Class riders out there on the track and slowed down a little bit. But nonetheless, it's very interesting race day. And like I said, maybe that's part of the winds of change that we're talking about out here. Now, looking at these shots, Mikey, you can't really tell that the winds had picked up, and they're kind of intermittent on and off. But whenever they are strong, they are strong. So we'll see if we got those strong winds blowing when the checker flag flies today, as we're watching for Fowler. We're watching for Bryson Neal and Jared McClure, Hunter Hart back in the number 4 spot, Devin Feehan in 5th, then Wyatt Wilkin, John Glotta, Josh Merritt, and, of course, looks like Austin Abney having a pretty strong start out there in the top 10 today as well in that XC1 Pro Class. Another rider that we probably haven't mentioned a whole lot is XC2 Pro-Am Class 3rd place ride is Steve Harrell. Kind of new on the scene for me, but man, he's really been taking it by storm. He's one of those Maryland riders, so you know he's obviously used to riding mountainous terrain, lots of rocks and things like that. But he has shown some great speeds in these conditions down here in the South so far here in the early part of 2022.
Yeah, he had, I don't know if it was last year, maybe year before, but he ended up on, had some top 3s as a top amateur rider there for a few times. I mean, it was him and Papa P, of course. And there is our answer of where is Adam McGill, and you can tell by the hand gestures that it wasn't good. I'll run down there, Rodney. We'll get it. We'll get
that, or he's giving a fishing class.
That
right
could
now.
be.
This is how you hold your rod and reel, and then this is how you.
He said, "Mustache, this is your fault. You grew a goatee, and everybody calls you Mustache. Everyone's confused."
Now
I'll go get the real word here.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker, no doubt about it, for Adam McGill, especially after the strong start that we've seen him with there. And we are now about 13 and a half minutes into this race. And, you know, Adam McGill is doing a great job.
Thank God we can't hear him. Whatever he's saying.
He's telling somebody something. Yeah, and as Gordon says, it may be better that we can't hear what Adam has to say right now. But, you know, you gotta appreciate Adam McGill and his personality. I mean, you know, the heart of a champion and a winner and a person that wants to win. Obviously, you know, it bleeds, and it bleeds hard. But the good thing about it is for Adam is that, you know, he's been in these circumstances, these situations enough over time that he's learned how to adjust. There's been times when I've watched Adam come in a situation like this and throw his helmet and literally throw a temper tantrum like a 2-year-old kid because that's how bad he wanted to win. You're like, a 20-something-year-old guy, that's how bad he wants to win, you know. But it's good that he also has learned and matured over time as well. And what a blistering great start he had today as well. So we'll see how the rest of the field's going to pan out on this one as we are watching out near the first mile marker, Method Alley. Method race wheels, lighter, stronger, faster, and certainly appreciate the support that we get from those great folks. As you see over there on the left side of the screen, your race clock, as we are now approaching, I said a few moments ago that was actually 35 minutes. It's now about 45 minutes now as we roll into this one. And with that being said, I want to wait a couple more minutes before we start giving some updates. I like to see some second laps coming in, but since that first lap was a little long, I expect that we will see these next laps a little bit shorter again. The first lap, in conjunction with where the finish line is a little bit longer on the course, so it's right toward the end of the lap, I guess you could say, probably be the best way to put it, where they join in. So they got a mile or two that they got to run, and so that's going to shorten things up once we get here for lap number 2. Right now, if you look at timing and scoring, it's telling us that we're somewhere in the neighborhood of just under 12 minutes. And I would expect that to be at maybe 10 minutes or so before we see those second place riders in. But I tell you what, since we got a moment, Mikey's down, we're not seeing any action on the TV. We'll give you a rundown again of what's taken place. We'll pick up with the College A class, where Damian Hawkins got off to a great start. Probably the best start we've seen him get out to in this College A class. Got the whole shot. He was 1.1 second ahead of James Glotta. Lane McCormick, the 5'12 of Muncie, Pennsylvania, in the number 3 spot. These 3 riders basically growing up together through those youth ranks, and every time you've seen them race, it seemed like when they were on the track together, these are the types of battles that you would see. Now, there is about 17 seconds back to Lane McCormick, but don't be surprised to see him pick things up there. Dalton Keys, another key player in this class, and one that many are expecting to be a championship contender. As we check in at the FMF PowerPoint there, mile marker number 7 now. We got Dalton Keys there in 4th. John Ashcraft out of Goshen, Ohio, rounds out the top 5. Not sure, but I think our leaders should probably be checking in here in just a few moments at the FMF PowerPoint. Got a couple of little hill climbs. I know we got one hill climb called the launch pad. I don't think this is necessarily it, but the launch pad, you can launch up to the top of the hill off of that particular race. And there it is. That is Walker Fowler out front. I believe that's still the 241. Bryson Neal still back in that number 2 spot as they almost looks like deja vu. We've seen this not too long ago from our Yamaha live drone, it appears. But what a great battle these 2 riders have going on. And this is the kind of scenes that we'll probably see a lot of today as we roll through this race day today, as we watch to see whether or not Bryson Neal will be able to bridge the gap back. Almost looks like Walker Fowler starting to stretch things out a little bit now in this battle right now. So we're looking at Denton White, Andre Williams, Christopher Howard, Connor Adair, and Connor Brandt rounding out your top 5 in the College B, 16 to 24. Sounds like we're going to find out what happened with the Gator, Adam McGill, as Mikey Waynes has made his way down to the pits. Mikey, what is going on, bud?
Adam, I know what's wrong with it. No gas in it. What, for real, though? Kind of things out here as hard as I could. Motor off. You believe that yet? Cool, man. I don't know, kind of air. Dude, the bike just snuffed out. I don't know what. Honest to God, I really don't know. I was feeling good. I pumped up like a balloon, but I was shaking it and it come back. I'd shake it and it come back, but man, I felt good here right before the finish, and around me at the hill climb because I needed a refreshment. Hear me? Yeah. Okay. And I don't know. I come around a corner and all of a sudden, just like you just pulled them DP brakes and just locked her down, man. It just shut off, and as soon as it shut off, I was like, huh, that ain't no good. And I thought to self, I was like, self, what would you do in a time like this? So I said, you know what? We're going to hit the start button. What'd I do? You hit the start button. What? Nothing. So hit the button, and believe it or not, it did spin over. It didn't sound. If I'm going to put some money on, I'm going to say something got into the clutch side and locked the engine down, because it still spins over. It'll still run. You just got to be on the gas. But I couldn't get it into neutral. I couldn't find neutral. So something let loose, I think, in the transmission side. Do I know what it is? No. If I can tell you what we're going to do about it. What are you going to do about it? Head to Sizzler? I'm going to head to Sizzler. I'm going to be some steaks, some baked beans, and some chicken wings. A buffet, baby.
There you go. Cheers, Adam McGill. He's heading to early, Rodney.
Hey, man after my own heart, no doubt about it. Sizzler does sound pretty good. Steaks and baked beans, chicken wings. Oh, we got a pass for the lead right there as the 241 of Bryson Neal, the Bullet, takes his shot and takes over the lead. And now we got pit stops going on. So in and out of the pit stop goes Walker Fowler. Now, will Bryson Neal be able to hang on to maintain this lead, as it looks like Jared McClure is in for a pit stop. Hunter Hart is in for a pit stop. And it looked like that maybe Hunter Hart was just ahead of McClure when they came into the pit area there just a few moments ago. So we got a new leader, or at least had a new leader. Yes, we still have a new leader as we check in with Bryson Neal out front all by his lonesome. Did he stop in the pits for a pit stop? Remember, he was all the way down at the far end of the pits. If he did stop, it was a quick one like Walker Fowler's was, as Fowler's back on the throttle and trying to reel in Neal. Now, if Neal did that to try to open up the gap over Walker Fowler and eluded the pits because of that, this may be a costly mistake as this race wanes down to the nitty-gritty, especially as tight as these riders have been racing here in this second lap of racing. Again, we're working on lap number 2. We are 50 minutes into this race. We're about 22 minutes according to what I'm seeing out from, and actually I think we're probably a little closer than that because we're at mile marker number 10. We'll get a little better. Oh, that's the College B. That's why they're about 10 minutes out. Our pro class might be a little bit closer, and we've got company coming in with us. We're about 5 minutes out as we watch these riders battle it out. Fowler and, of course, Neal and Fowler, then McClure, Hunter Hart. Actually, it's Hunter Hart up the third. Now McClure's dropped off the fourth. Devin Feehan out there, Wyatt Wilkin, and John Galata Jr. Man, this is a battle of the ages, and we have now a in-studio guest. What was your first name again? Mason Simpson, that's it, with an E. Simpson with an E joining us. Going to be racing tomorrow, coming in from Australia. Fresh off the boat, as they like to say. Actually, no, he's actually been racing so far this season. We'll talk with him here in just a few moments. I told him to stop by because we wanted to get to know him a little bit. He's a top Aussie motocross racer and champion, as well as off-road racer. And he's coming to America to try to showcase his talents here. Mason, good to have you on board, buddy. I'm sure there's probably ATV racing down under, right?
A whole lot, actually. I mean, there's not really that much. You know, you come to these races and you see these guys, how fast they go through the trees and stuff on these four-wheelers is pretty cool. So, yeah, you definitely don't see much of this at home, but yeah, hats off to these guys. They're going at it right now. It's cool.
No doubt, and I'm sure it probably lends to a little different style of track than what you're used to racing upon as well, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, back home, the trees and it's different here. It's a lot faster back home, and you know, not really much cross-country style racing as in 3 hours. It's a lot more sprint racing back home, I feel. So, yep, it's all new to me, and yeah, I'm excited to get out there tomorrow and have a crack for my first GNCC.
So, how have things been? How long have you been stateside here?
I came over in November. I had to return home once just for a week because of my visa and stuff I'm on now. But yeah, I've only been here for maybe 4 months, I think it is about. And
racing sprint enduro, right?
Yep. Did 2 rounds of the sprints. Unfortunately, had a little crash at the second round of the last test and busted my left collarbone and my right hand. So I've only been back on the bike a couple of weeks, and yeah, missed the first 3 GNCCs, but we're here now, and you know, hopefully we can see the year out healthy and you know, get some results up on the board and you know, get prepared for just learn every time I head out on the track.
Yeah, from what I understand, you're here for the long haul, right?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Yep, I've come over and I've committed, and yeah, I want to try and make the most of it. So.
All right, and right now we're watching on camera. This is Walker Fowler. We're still watching from the Yamaha live drone as the battle for first and second wages on here on the four-wheel side of things. And Mason, I talked about the fact that you're not only an off-road star from Australia. I hear that you win nearly every race you enter in Australia in the off-road side of things, but you're also a 125 national motocross champion and 250 motocross national champion down there, huh?
Yeah, so through juniors, I've always raced motocross.
And just hang on just a second. There's Bryson Neal checks in. Sorry about that, Mason.
No,
but
that's fine.
Bryson Neal checking in for his second lap. That's a 25:55. We're about 2 minutes or so, a little over 2 minutes faster than what we saw at the end of lap 1. 26:02. That's almost 2 minutes exactly faster for Walker Fowler. He had a 28:03 at the end of lap number 1. Hunter Hart checks in the number 3 spot, 11 seconds down now. He's out of Newfield, New York. Again, 26:07 for that rider, 26:17 for McClure's. He drops now to the number 4 spot, and 1.2 seconds back, and one of the faster laps at a 26:06 as well as Devin Feehan. He's running podium speeds right now. The question is, will he be able to bridge that gap and make those passes and put himself in position as Fowler and the folks work their way around. Actually, that is the 241 there of our leader of, once again, Bryson Neal, the Bidwell Bullet. leading these riders through these trees. And I'm sorry to interrupt you there as those riders were coming through, but yeah, you the 125 motocross stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so through juniors, I've always grew up racing motocross. That's all I've done up until 2020. I made the switch to off-road racing. So yeah, I was fortunate enough to win a few Australian titles in juniors on the 125 and the 250, and then yeah, unfortunately during 2020 and 2021, COVID back home was pretty bad. So we didn't really get much racing in the off-road side of things. So you know, I didn't really get to feel like what I could have done back home. But you know, we got a couple of years and you know, just practicing and you know, pretty much going to work and trying to make some money, and then you know, we're here now, so it's all good.
Awesome, man. And like I said, in it for the long haul, you're with the KTM Trail Jesters team, right?
Yep, for sure. Yep, Ross is giving me the opportunity, and Auntie from KTM to come over and you know, give me the opportunity to see what I can do here. So I'm very grateful to have them, and I'll be racing for them. So you know, they're looking after me.
All right, well, stick around, man. Give us some of the Australian perspective, two-wheel racer perspective of our ATV race that we got going on right now. As we are seeing right now, Bryson Neal tried to work himself into a breakaway run here and stretch things out over Walker Fowler. And you know, you often wonder how fast can these guys actually go. And after talking to these guys, and especially Walker Fowler, it's not a matter of how fast you can go. It's a matter of how fast are you willing to go at this particular point. And I imagine you probably find that on the two-wheel side of things too, huh, Mason?
Oh, for sure. It's you definitely know how to go fast, but yeah, whether you can manage it for the length of the race as well is another thing. And you know, there's things that can pop up and catch you out, like stumps and you know, roots and rocks that you can't really see. And you know, it's kind of starting to get pretty dusty out here by the looks of things too. So.
Yeah, and windy as well. I don't know if you noticed the treetops out there, but they're swaying pretty good. Those pine trees are certainly swaying out there. And watching racing from this perspective, I know you're usually ground level. You don't think a whole lot about it, man. But to watch how these lines work and everything, I mean, what's it like for you to be able to see it from this level right now?
For sure. I mean, you know, up top here you can see all, you know, well, tomorrow you'll see a lot more different lines, I guess, when the bikes go around. And that's what's going to be new to me, I feel, tomorrow as well, is, you know, picking the lines and getting around the mud holes and bog holes out there, because, you know, back home it's double bunted the whole way around, and, you know, you've only got maybe 6 to 12 feet of track about to race through. So, but no, these guys are doing a good job getting through these trees, you know, so clean, and how fast they do it. It's definitely impressive to watch.
No doubt about that. As said, the dust is kicking up, but the beauty of it is the wind is whisking it away very quickly. Sure. So it's not a vision problem, and it's probably won't even be a motor issue for these guys. It won't be a lung issue. So under steel conditions, this might be a little more difficult to traverse for these guys racing close together. But like this, man, I mean, makes these dry days a breeze to race in.
Yeah, definitely. When it's dusty, you kind of want it to be windy as well, just to blow that dust straight off, and you can you know, see where you're going. It's not just sitting there and turns to like bull dust kind of stuff. So, but these guys look to be handling it pretty well.
Now, you know I've talked to a lot of the Aussies, but terrain-wise, dirt compounds, things like that, do you see a lot of the same consistencies here in the United States as you do in Australia, or do you notice a little difference?
It's definitely different here. I feel like maybe, you know, this clay here at Big Buck and even Georgia looks to be like a little more slippery than back home to what we race on. And, you know, Florida, I mean, I've only been to 3 GNCCs, and it's the first 3 this year, and, you know, they all look different. So it's it's definitely different terrain here, and, you know, that's just what we got to, us Aussies, come over and learn. And, you know, Aussies have come over and prove that they can do it, as in Josh Strang and Shane Watts, Daniel Milner. They've all come here and been competitive. Glenn Carney and you know, now Lyndon Snodgrass. So.
Yeah, and speaking of Glenn Carney, you have a little bit of a tie-in with him. He was actually, a team manager of yours at one point?
He was, 2020. GK, Glenn Carney was the team manager of the KTM off-road team back home. And, I was fortunate enough to work with him for the little bit we had together until, unfortunately, things went bad. But, he's a really good dude, and, you know, he helped me out a lot in the short time we got to spend together. And same as Daniel Milner, you know, he helped me out a lot throughout my career so far, and he's made a switch to Europe, so that's cool. And now I'm here. Josh Strang's helped me out, so definitely a lot of Aussies that have got a lot of experience want to pass on to me, so it's cool.
Yeah, and I imagine it's probably a lot of fun to hang out with Josh and those guys there in North Carolina for you guys. So welcome aboard, man. I can't wait to see how things transpire for you over the course of hopefully the next 5 years. I know that's what your intentions and hopes are for sure.
Yep. No, thank you, Rodney.
Not a problem. Like I said, stick around right now. We're at the Monster Mile waiting on these leaders. My timing and scoring computer went down, so we're going to try to get that back up and rolling. But again, just the battle that we have going on between these riders is just unparalleled. I think we've seen good battles, but this one is rising to a whole new level as Mikey Waynes makes his way back into the studio with us. Mikey, I saw on the pit stops, I couldn't tell whether or not Bryson Neal stopped. I think he did. I know he was a lot further down. But he was already starting to open up a little bit of a gap over Walker when we last saw them through the aerial views, and especially shortly after that pit stop. So looks like that this race has really clicked up another gear and another notch here in the latter part now.
Yeah, no doubt. I tried to get you the report down there, having some technical difficulties with the microphone there. But, yeah, Bryson Neal did pit same time as Walker and was able to get out of the pits, obviously, before Walker as well. So, hey, at this point, it's mano-a-mano.
It is, and you see Neal going through there as Walker Fowler checking in. We're at the 3 mile marker, that monster mile, as they get things sorted out here. And Fowler still trying to keep Bryson Neal in check. Now, I made mention earlier in the show that talking when we spoke with some of the folks over there at the Neal pits, they were saying that he is fired up more so probably than they've ever seen him. And this should make for an exciting race. They know he's got some strong races coming up as they head to the north. I heard Walker Fowler even talking about that earlier in the show. So Walker's trying to establish the southern dominance right now and trying to strengthen that points lead, but it's going to be hard to strengthen the points lead whenever you've got things like this going on. We're still a ways away from checkers, but at the same time, Mikey, I don't want to say Walker's back's against the wall, but right now I think he's taking a couple 1-2s here today, and he's certainly thinking about where that next punch is coming from.
Yeah, it's kind of like, Rodney and I, we talked about it pre-race was, those days of, hey, I finished on the podium. That's a good day on my bad day. That's gone by the wayside. I think if I'm Walker Fowler, I need P1, and if I'm Bryson Neal in that situation, I better finish second, and flip that. If I'm Bryson Neal and I get a win, if I'm Walker Fowler, I better get second, because I don't know that a third place when the other guy's getting first is going to cut it when this season is said and done.
After 2 laps of racing, Bryson Neal leading Walker Fowler. Hunter Hart back at the number 3 spot. Jared McClure is 4th. Devin Feehan rounds out the top 5. The young guns are firing today. Will they hit their mark? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
USMCA has been connecting riders to certified coaches since 2016. There are over 300 active certified coaches on motorcyclecoaching.org, and we recently launched our new mobile app, making it easy to connect with a coach and book your next training session. So here's what you do. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app, then search for coaches and upcoming classes. Once a training session is booked, riders have the option to pay for their class and even get a calendar reminder that will automatically sync to their phone. Get connected today.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Well, Brown's RV Superstore is family owned and operated and stake their reputation on offering you the finest RVs available in their McBee, South Carolina RV dealership. Brown's RV Superstore carries motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and toy haulers, and keep a huge inventory of new and used RVs in stock for you to choose from. They offer top dollar for your RV trade-in and help you get the RV financing you need. As a part of the GNCC family, Brown's RV Superstore, in partnership with Vengeance Toy Haulers, offers sponsorship packages for every level of racer with discounts and continued savings on your new toy hauler. Brown's RV Superstore has dedicated themselves to complete customer satisfaction, specializing in providing a positive start to your RV adventure. They look forward to customers coming back to share their tales from the road. Call Brown's RV Superstore today at 877-805-3658 or visit their website at brownsrvsuperstore.com, where family fun begins.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes here with us. And, of course, a big day of racing, no doubt about it. Windy conditions out there. That's me.
Oh, that's like that's not getting any quieter.
Windy conditions as we are under wind advisory out there. So you see a lot of that happen. That happened in Georgia, but the wind isn't nearly as bad as what it was in Georgia. So our camera shots are a little affected by it today, but not nearly as bad as what they were as we got riders making the drive up the FMF PowerPoint. Again, Neal, Fowler, Hart, McClure, Feehan, your top five. 13 minutes is when our leaders are due in. John Glotta Jr. not far off pace right now, running in the number 6 spot. Cole Richardson is 7. Looks like we've got, Josh Merritt in 8. Chris Borich is 9th. And I believe that would put Austin Abney rounding out the top 10 in the XC1 Pro class. As our leaders making their way into the Monster Mile, Mikey Waynes, this could be a big tell of what the rest of this race is going to be looking like here about the midway point of this third lap of racing.
It's going to be interesting. Like we were saying earlier, exactly what I think the folks at home want to see. That's that battle of Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler out front. And how about it, Bryson Neal? Cool, calm, collected. Dude, he was so cool and calm through there. I didn't know that was him for a second. But there is Walker Fowler, also cool, calm, and collected, but with a little bit more sense of urgency right there in that 2 position.
Yeah, these are the kind of areas that he can gain a lot of ground in. He can also lose a lot of ground. This, I think, a little tighter section through the Monster Mile for these ATV racers. So, if he can stay on track and not clip a tree and hit his marks, he can make up some time, especially if Bryson Neal is being sensitive through that area, trying not to do the same thing, maybe slowing down a little slower than what his pace already is, and that could give Walker that edge that he's looking for. Here comes 3rd, 4th, and 5th place position, and 6th. Looks like there's a pretty big gap starting to open up back there, Mikey, as we see Hunter Hart, Jared McClure, Devin Feehan. It looks like John Glotta has now joined the pace for this race, or is that Cole Richardson? I think it was Glotta still back there, maybe in that mix of riders also.
Did see Hunter Hart leading that big pack coming through there.
This
so
may
Hart
be Glotta coming
away
through here right now, so may have not been in that mix of riders. He was running about 11 seconds back. Cole Richardson was another 6.5 or so back behind him.
I think, Rodney, if you're Walker Fowler right now, the veteran of Walker Fowler, all those wins, he's got the points lead. It's 85 points to 76. If I'm Walker, does he want to win? Obviously, yes. But I don't think this is a panic button situation for Walker Fowler. If Bryson wins today, things are tightened up a little bit more, but I'm still feeling good if I'm Walker Fowler. And I think that's the maturity level in him over the last few seasons of, hey, I don't have to go out and win every race. I just got to make sure that when it gets tough like this, I'm doing what I need to do to stay out front as far as the points is concerned.
Yeah, that's quite possible, but I will say also a win here today. It's not critical in the program, but it is one that he
3 in a row would be good.
Yeah, it would be good, but it's also a part of a plan, that mental plan that racers have going in, knowing and feeling that he's stronger in these southern races and he wants to establish as much of a point lead over Bryson and the rest of the field in this southern swing, because like he said, he knows we're heading into that northern territory.
Yeah,
That's
right.
where Bryson Neal is strong. So if Bryson Neal is strong here and he remains strong when we go up north, then this could be a panic situation for Walker. Now, Walker being the champion that he is, I don't think that he's going to show that, but on the inside just a little bit,
for
he's
sure.
got to be feeling it.
Yeah, I mean, in the same breath, if you're Bryson Neal, I think you look at the season, all these guys, you circle those rounds that you're like, I expect to win this one. And you got to think John Penton coming up, Indiana, the Hoosier coming up. If I'm Bryson Neal, that's basically home. So, yeah, I'm circling those. I want the win there, and I think I can do it. So, yeah, you're dead on. I think Walker Fowler, and he admitted it himself in the interview we had with Walker, talking about, hey, Bryson's good here. He's won both last year. He won Big Buck this year.
He said like 4 or 5 times last year.
Yeah, so there's two things to that. One, he's acknowledging Bryson Neal is good here because he is. Two, he's also kind of laying the groundwork that, hey, if I come in here to the track that Bryson's good at and I can beat him at it, and I got 3 wins in a row now I'm into his head a little bit.
Exactly, and that's a good point right there. And he will be, because this is the kind of terrain, even though it is a southern round and it is red dirt, it is more of the types of terrain that you would call maybe conducive to where Bryson lives, and maybe even Walker when you look at the big picture. But for some reason, that next swing of few races really does seem to lend itself to Bryson Neal. He lives down by the river. It's a little more mountainous down there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his advantage, because some of these races are a little bit mountainous that are coming up in the near future. They got some elements to it anyway.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, not Coker, obviously. That's still
that's true.
But when we go up north to West Virginia and things like that. All right, checking in. We are now an hour and looks like 11 and a half minutes into this race as we continue to watch. Mikey, I'm going to run down a few of these classes. I think we got a couple moments. Keep an eye out there for our leaders checking in. Last time I checked in, we were looking at the College B class. And we'll look through those riders again real quick. Chris Howard leading Andre Williams. Now, this is after 2 for these guys in this one. So, actually, we can go back up and probably hit this XC2 Pro-Am to give you an idea how it's shaping up, and the XC1 Pro class after the 2 full laps. So, Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, Jared McClure, Devin Feehan, whom we've talked about. Then John Glotta in 6th, Cole Richardson 7th, Josh Merritt is 8th, Chris Borch 9th, Austin Abney rounds out 10th. 11th and 12th, Ronnie Rush and Johnny Gallagher, the rookie and the vet. And then, of course, Jay Shadron leading the XC2 Pro-Am class. All that timing and scoring did get sorted out there, so Jay was leading the overall by about 8 seconds, I believe, at the end of lap number 1. Wyatt Wilkin, though, as these riders drop back to outside the top 5, I think they're running 7th or 8th where we expected to see them drop to. But Jay Shadron, Wyatt Wilkin, 25 seconds back now in 2nd. The 908 Steve Harrell out of Elk Ridge, Maryland, is running 3rd. Tanner Walker in the number 4 spot. The 622 Dylan Walraven in 5th. Then it's Grayson Eller in 6th. Brandon Owens in 7th. Daniel Peters in 8th. Shane McMillan 9th. And Albert Jadish in the number 10 spot. Big names, again, jostling around outside the top 5 right now, trying to make some gains at the midway point of this race, and they've still got their work cut out for them as this race wears on. We go to our next class again, the College A class. James Glotta leading Lane McCormick. This is after 2 now. Damian Hawkins drops from 1st to 3rd. He loses 35 seconds on that lap. He's 25, almost 26 seconds behind Lane McCormick. Lane McCormick 10.2 seconds now behind James Glotta. So he's about 11, well, say just over 10. Then Hawkins another 25, almost 26 seconds back. So that's spread out a little bit. 1 minute and 45 seconds, though, that spread out quite a bit as well. Back to 4th place ride of Dalton Keys. Again, a rider that was expected to be key in the championship battle this year. 4th place, John Ashcraft back in the number 5 spot. There's Chance Hickey, Tyler Cox, Nathan Dearborn in 8th, Keaton Henderson in 9th, and Trevor Furby in the number 10 spot. Next class we'll take a look at, I believe, would be our College B. Chris Howard, Andre Williams, and they are checking in with 2 now. Denton White in the number 3 spot. Connor Adair is 4th. Then it's Connor Brandt rounding out the top 5. As we look next from our College B, we go to the Junior A class, I believe, where Seth Wilson is leading this one on the 501 out of Smock, Pennsylvania. Alex Elioff running in the number 2 spot, only 1.6 seconds back after 2. Man, those guys are running hard. 29:18, 29:14, their lap times respectively. Devin Masters in the number 3 spot. Then it's Jeremy LaDonna in 4th. Brady Myers rounds out the top 5. A.J. Kuntz, Caden Wright, Justin Miller, Howard, Andrew Hickson, and Bryson Mollahan rounding out the top 10. There's your leaders coming into the pits, it looks like now, Mikey.
Helps when my mic's on, Rodney. Yes, here they come into the pits, and we'll see how this one sorts out there. Oh, a little checkup from the neck up by B. Neal right there. Making sure he's got some clear vision. Oh, and how about that, Rodney?
Quick pit stop.
A little splash of fuel for Walker Fowler.
Wonder what the idea behind that is. Now, this race is maybe they use.
Are we going to run 5?
That might be a possibility. As we look at a lap's time right now, we're 2 laps into this one with 1 hour and 6 minutes. Lap times. No, actually, let me look at that again. All right, so whenever we look at this, I'm going to do the math for you real quick. Yeah, so got to get up to the top. Computer being very slow and cranky today.
We had that situation this morning, Rodney. It was right on that cusp of, 2-hour race. I think AMA rules 1:45. We got to run at least an hour 45 minutes.
GNCC, yeah.
If I'm correct on that.
It might be. Yeah. Yeah, so we checked in at 54 minutes. Lap times were 25. If we wrap up lap number 3 at 25 minutes, or 26 minutes even, that would put us at 1 hour and 30 minutes. That then would give us another 25-minute lap time, which would put us well within the hour and 45-minute mark. So, yeah.
That's going to be my guess. Is going to be 4. That's what they did this morning. But, I mean, it was so close this morning. It was the debate of, Jeremy Holbert was standing there. Melissa was in scoring, and she's watching the clock to give Jeremy the signal, to give Ricky Towery the signal. I mean, it was literally, hey, we don't know. So I'm thinking we'll follow suit and be that same situation here with this.
He needed a quick goggle change, so they went ahead and splashed gas while they had him in there. So, I mean, there's a number of reasons that could have been happening as we try to speculate this one right now. And it'll be a while, until somebody gets down there and asks him. And Bryson Neal, got to give me on that one, Mikey. That 4-second, 5-second, maybe 8-second gap that he'd seen at times, I think has opened up closer to probably that 15-second range now.
You see him on the Yamaha Live Drone right now, looking good, hitting his marks, smooth, and he is the only rider in the shot.
All right, we got an update. 2 lap guard will be coming out this time, so that'll be at the end of lap 3. So wow.
We're going to run them long today, boys.
I guess so. So 25 minutes on top of, put us at 1 hour and 30 minutes. Yeah, it would be a 1 hour and 55-minute race according to the way that I would see it. So it's going to be like a 2 hour and 20-minute race, it looks like today.
Let's go. Send them. Hey, weather's perfect. We can't sit here talking about how good the weather is and the track is prime.
And I do want to say this. I could be wrong on how that breaks down. Sometimes I am. So we'll see. So interesting, though, to see how this one is going to unfold. Well, I did say during the riders' meeting it would be a 3-hour race, mistakenly.
It's your fault, Rodney. They'll have a bone to pick with you.
But nonetheless, the way I got it calculated, it should be 4. But again, I'm not the timing and scoring rider person, so I can't calculate perfectly all the time.
Hey, we'll know for sure when they roll through, right? I mean, it's either going to be
right. Yeah. So here. How's your speculations going now? We got Neal, Fowler, and Hart. You're right on, right?
Dead on. That's dead on. I said Bryson, Neal, Walker, Fowler, Hunter, Hart.
I came in with no real expectations.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. What I expected to happen is happening. I don't know who's going to win, but I was leaning toward the fact, and I guess from a spectator standpoint, to keep the points tight and things exciting, definitely leaning on the side of Bryson Neal.
Yeah.
Thinking that, if I was cheering for anyone, and I don't because I try to stay unbiased.
Right, we can't be biased.
That's how I would lean on that one, just from the championship point standings on that one. Again, it's as far as personalities, it's hard to be biased against these guys because, just watching, I just like to see good racing. I said that the entire time that I've announced, and I'll say that to the very end here at round 13 this year when it all wraps up for me, and that's the way I feel about it.
Bryson Neal looking good on screen right here. So let's see. What's Ricky Towery got in his hand? That is a 2-lap card, Rodney Tomlin.
Is. All right, so
there
this
we go.
right here, tell the tape here, this was my calculations correct? Did we get the right lap times in there? And, a 119. So I was about 10 minutes off. How did I get 10 minutes off on that? A 119 lap time on that. So with 1 hour, 19 minutes elapsed. See, I told you not to rely on me. Doing the math now, and that would put us, we would be right at that 140. So it will only put us about 2 hours and 5 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 10.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. So I don't know how I got that far off, but regardless, I'm not the official timekeeper. That's why I have.
To speak for the RB riders out there, though,
it
will definitely be a well over 2 hour race for them.
It might be that 3 hour race.
They always say, the same thing tomorrow. They say, well, it's a 3 hour race for the leaders, for the row 1, row 2, row 3 maybe, but outside of that, it's a much longer day.
1 hour and 20 minutes into this race now as these riders click it off here today.
And now if I'm Walker Fowler, I'm thinking we made the good decision. Mark Notman did me well, gave me another splash of fuel. I'm good. I can send this thing home. Now you got to question, how hard is Bryson Neal on that throttle? If he's using a lot of fuel, he's probably going to have to stop and at least get a splash. So he better build him a gap right here.
What's the general rule of thumb? I think these guys are looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour, 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, he should be okay. But I mean, if he's one of those guys that's
when they pitted what? So yeah, I'm thinking, there's about 10 minutes worth there that he's playing with that he might need to. Yeah, he probably need to pit. And Adam Gordon is saying that they are expecting and anticipating a pit stop next time around for Bryson Neal. So it's going to be quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet it'll be almost identical to what we saw with Mark Notman and Walker Fowler of, hey, welcome, here you go, get out there and go win a race.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got we got Adam Gordon, our producer, on it. He's going to keep a clock on these guys and see if we can get an idea of the gap. When they checked in, Rodney, what was it, about a 10.4?
Yeah, 10.4 second gap, so right under the 10.5 second gap between them. Right now, we're watching Fowler right now, I believe. So right here, we might be able to get there. Bryson Neal and
there's the other factor. Now getting into a little bit of that lap traffic. Which was a major factor in the 4x4 race today. They had
seeing about trouble. 5 seconds.
About 5?
Yeah.
So he built on it a little bit, about right where it was. I mean, Bryson honestly better move.
Yeah.
Better move. Because 5 seconds is not enough. You will see a man on a mission, though, if Bryson Neal stops for a pit and that number 1 Yamaha goes flying by him, Rodney. We're going to have ourselves a heater down to the wire.
It's going to get gnarly.
8 seconds officially, according to Adam Gordon.
Yeah,
officially, unofficially.
I said 6. I said 5, but I thought it was closer to 6. But hey, I was wrong again.
I was thinking 6.5.
6.723.
Yeah,
891. But here's the thing that's intriguing to me, Mikey. A minute and 6 seconds back to third place. But then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders that are battling ferociously for that final podium position. They're all about 1 second apart. You're looking at Hunter Hart, followed by Jared McClure, followed by Devin Feehan, followed by Cole Richardson, followed by John Glotta Jr. And then back on elapsed time, he's about 20, almost 30 seconds back is Jay Shadron in 8th overall. So that's adjusted time for the XC2. Josh Merritt's looking at a minute and 3 seconds back between that 7th and 8th place position in the pro class. So that gives you an idea. There's 5 riders in a battle all by themselves. It is heated. It's a battle for the podium position, the final podium spot, and they're racing, I guarantee you, like it's the win.
Yeah, and we just had them right there at mile marker number 1, Rodney, and it was, wheel to wheel, like you just said. So those guys know what's at stake. That P3 is so coveted, especially in those kind of tight situations. You can easily go from 6th place to a podium right there. So we'll keep our eyes on that one for you guys at home.
Method race wheels we're watching here. We've seen our leaders going through just a few moments ago. We'll pick them up a little further down trail again here shortly. As Wyatt Wilkin is also in from that XC2 Pro-Am class now. I believe that, is he up to second or is he still your third place position holder in that class? As we update our scoring system, Wilkin is second now. Steve Harrell, he has not checked in. So, wow, a minute and 37 seconds is what the gap was back to Wilkin at the, or excuse me, to Harrell, between Wilkin and Harrell at the end of lap number 2. I have to think if this lap time continues to be the faster lap time, we're going to see somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5, maybe pushing 3 minutes between second and third in that class as well. So those front runners really seem to be sparking things up here today, Mikey.
Putting on a heater. Speaking of which, waiting on our leaders here in the Monster Mile marker 3. And you can see all the lap traffic, just that added element at GNCC that Bryson Neal's probably not super stoked about right now. You know, you see it time and time again. If you're the first guy to him, it almost plays an advantage to that guy who's sitting behind you in second, because they already know, hey, here come the leaders. There's no blue flag waving, but I can hear that rev limiter. I need to get out of the way. So,
and the beauty of it is, yeah, I mean, not only that, like you said, but it gives those riders time to bridge the gap up, because like you said, that they don't know they're getting lapped oftentimes, you know, when the rider first comes up on them initially. So it may take 10, 15 seconds or even longer, depending on where you're at on the trail, before you can get out of the way for that rider to come through. So, you know, it does that opportunity to, you know, to tighten it right back up. And then you get that added bonus on top of that, which gives you, they know you're coming, so you get through the lap traffic a bit quicker. So, I mean, that really is the place to be if you come up in lap traffic situations in circumstances like what we got going on right now. However, if you're in a good area of the racetrack where you can get around the lap traffic without any issues, you can really do some major damage between yourself and that next position behind you, especially if they get caught up in between them in the slow areas. There's Bryson Neal checking in at the 3-mile marker, heading into that Monster Mile.
May not be a full mile, but by God, it's going to feel like one. And right now, it's going to feel like 10 miles for that man right there, Walker Fowler.
That got a little bigger, didn't it?
The gap's a little bigger, yeah. And you saw that one lapper in between them. Got out of the way for Bryson. He had a place to do it. Is there going to be a place for him to do it when Walker Fowler comes up on his rear?
Well, we wait and we watch here in this now 4th lap of racing. 13 seconds back is what we're looking at, the difference between first and second place position. So another 5 seconds has been added on the lead. So pretty impressive skills by Bryson Neal, and this is what he needs to do, and he needs to do this entire lap. He can't let that gap get closed back up, because when he hits the end of this lap around, what is it, the 10-mile marker, when we come close to the pro pits, he's going to have to stop, get a quick splash of fuel, and in and out, and he needs all the buffer he can get right now.
Yeah, no doubt, and with every lap rider he passes and puts in between him and Walker, the better if you're Bryson Neal. Just create more obstacles for Walker Fowler to get around, and battle for third should be coming up right here.
Yep.
We'll see if Hunter Hart is still leading the way there. Jared McClure behind him. It was Devin Feehan. And that is going to be Hunter Hart out front leading the way. Look at the freight train, Rodney Tomlin.
Wow, all 5 of these guys still nose to tail. It is they're still our same players. Hart, McClure, Feehan, Richardson, John Galata. Nose to tail at the 3-mile marker as they continue to battle into the Monster Mile here at this Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. Right now, Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, and he is being chased down for that final podium position. The big question is, will Bryson Neal be able to make that pit stop and get out ahead of Walker Fowler to take this win? And who's going to win this battle for the final podium spot? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
And Cole Likens and Thunder making the big win. Man, a big thunderous win. I heard the hoopla down at the finish line today. Congratulations to him on a big win. And, of course, that was pretty impressive. And to get that first win's got to make you feel pretty good, especially on the national level. We're waiting on Bryson Neal to check in. I'm not sure. Was that him? Yep, that's him stuck behind a lap rider right now. And he gets by him, it looks like. He's still moving at a little better pace than he was moving earlier through some of these tighter sections, so he's picking that pace back up. Now, the big question is, how far back is Walker Fowler now? We got a 20-second gap radioed to us from our track crew out there, so 20 seconds is what we are looking at likely between first and second. Now, the question posed to me, Mikey, during break was how much time, and it is 20 seconds still here at the 5-mile marker, how much time is Bryson Neal? How much of a cushion will Bryson Neal need in a pit stop to not get past, not feel pressure coming out? And my calculations is I'm thinking it's not a full gas stop. I'm not going to have to go through everything. A good quick pit stop might be in the 8 to 9 second range. If they can get him in and out in 5 or 6 seconds, they will be doing good. So he's going to have at least 10 seconds coming into the pits to be able to get in and out without any real pressure being applied, I would think.
And it's got to be flawless.
Yeah.
Got to be flawless. And you got to think, too, I mean, you got that adrenaline going, the blood pumping, the heartbeat pumping. Just that quick stop alone could just derail that. Most likely not. I mean, the adrenaline's going to be going so hard for Bryson Neal, but so many little factors in that, the pressure. But Bryson is doing what he needs to do right now, and that's getting that gap as big as possible. The other question, Rodney, is I not dare question his fitness because I did that at round one. We see how that worked out. But, you know, how much energy has he exerted trying to put this gap on Walker Fowler?
That's crazy. Looks like we might have some changes coming in what we're hearing now in the top three, in that battle for third. And that has stretched out a little bit. So, we've got a new third-place rider. Did you see? I think that may be McClure.
I think that was Jared McClure. I didn't quite see the number 3.
I get to see. All right, so we're getting reports that is McClure in the number 3 spot. So we'll be seeing some change, and I'm sure we'll see more changes in that before it's all said and done. But the thing that was surprising to me right there, Mikey, is it wasn't near. I mean, it was still tight, but it wasn't the nose-to-tail battle that we've been seeing through the bigger part of this race. So these guys are starting their breakaway battles now, it looks like, and trying to establish some dominance for that final podium spot, it looks like.
Well, Jared McClure, if he can seal the deal on P3, my buddy Maverick Smith's got me. He's got me. So I know my buddy Maverick is out there just rooting for Jared McClure right now. Meanwhile, Bryson Neal out in front.
What's on the line?
Andrew Jackson at 20. That was his call, too. He's a kid, and he said, I said, well, what's a fair price? I thought maybe a T-shirt, a soda. He goes, $20.
Oh, my God.
I said, kid, you're going to have to go ask your parents for that money. And he's like, I'm confident enough I won't have to ask them for money. I'm like, okay, all right, here we go.
Mercy.
Nothing like gambling with kids.
Yeah. There's our good friends from Teely Energy Racing chilling out in the...
Well, that's Magna 1. That's Papa.
Yep.
Papa Neal ready.
Yep. Magna 1 Motorsports tent. Now we're seeing Teely Energy pitch down there. That's where we're seeing those guys. But it is Magna 1 pouring Freedom. They're going to pour Freedom of fuel into that tank. They're going to have to hope it's flowing free.
Yeah, man.
Whenever it comes through there. Now we know the fuel's not free, especially these days.
No, it is not.
But you better hope it flows free as they're waiting patiently there inside the pro pits as we check in right now. We are about 8 minutes out, so we're probably a few minutes still out from the pro pits, but they are in position for that. Now at the 7-mile marker, FMF PowerPoint. 20-second gap is what we saw there just a few moments ago at mile marker number 5. Lap traffic, obviously, somewhat of a factor. There goes Fowler through now, and that still looked like it was probably in that 20-second range, I believe.
Rolling, moving right now. Looking good up that FMF PowerPoint. Pits are ready. Man, I'm ready for this, Rodney. I'm excited. Want to see if, just as much as Bryson Neal knows, hey, I got to get in their pit cleanly. And Adam Gordon saying 21.5 seconds now is that gap. But Walker knows it too. I mean, he knows Bryson's going to have to stop, get a splash of fuel. That's when I got to make my move. I got to push. I got to push right now.
Well, he's
he's saving something for it.
Yeah, he's a 7-time champion. He's good at managing these championships and waiting on that third-place battle right now, believing that McClure still has that third-place position after getting around Hunter Hart. That may have been, was that those guys going through? It's really hard to tell right now which riders these are going through. Still think we're looking at lap traffic going through right now, Mikey. It's tough to tell in some of these shots. Again, the windier conditions, it's not as bad as it was in Georgia on Saturday, but we still have the windy conditions. It messes with the antennas. It blows them around, and our shot quality is not nearly as crystal clear. And if you tune in tomorrow and say, well, my golly, they got it in clear for the bikes. Well, I'll tell you why. Is
the wind moved out.
The wind's moved out. It's not because this is just a practice run, but it helps. But, yeah, we do learn a lot on Saturday, no doubt about it. And one of those is the fact that the wind dies down, and it should be anyway, according to the reports that we have. Walker Fowler right now still in that. Yes, he is. Man, he is rolling through this wood line. And, watching these riders at this pace, and when Mason was in here just a few moments ago, I think he was pretty intrigued at how quickly these ATV riders are going and how fast the riders go through these tighter trees. But he said, things are a little more open in Australia, and they go even faster there. But he's baffled by the fact that they can still go fast through these trees like this.
It is nuts. You see it like in social media too. The drone does it justice. See it live in person does it even more justice, but you see it on social media too. The speeds that our riders carry through the woods is just uncanny. Just insane. All right. Walker Fowler's reeled someone in, but that is not Bryson. That is a lapper. So don't panic at home.
You know, and the thing about it is, in watching Bryson ride, we haven't seen any sense of urgency in his riding. He doesn't even look like he's pushing. Now, whether it's just for the camera he's riding like that, and he's riding like a madman outside of camera shots, I don't know. But whatever it is, this flow that he's got going today really seems to be working, and he's capitalizing huge on it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that Walker today, if he can get the win, awesome. He's going to be stoked about that. If he doesn't, but he ends up second, I think you're still going to see a very confident demeanor out of Walker Fowler at the end of this one. It's not derailed by any means. He's still in control.
Yeah, I think what did we calculate, 9 points to separate these guys coming into this round.
Here we go.
5 points. That could bring it down to a 4-point race and tighten things up. But here comes the gas can out.
You talk about a nervous man right now. Oh, he better run.
See Neil for the deal. Right there. Watch the deal here. We're going to see the good deal right here. Gas jug in. It is out. Very calm, very cool, very collected. What were we looking at? 3 seconds or so?
Yeah, by the time he popped that quick fill on there.
Mean, the pit stop was a little longer than that, but there was 3 seconds of drain if there was that on the fuel. And Walker Fowler now just making his way through the pits. So, man, what a good cushion. And that's exactly what he needed to have coming into the pits, that buffer zone. I don't even know that Walker saw him exiting the pits. So that right there, you know, even Walker's probably wondering right now, did he pit that time? Did he pit that time? Is he going to have to pit next time? What's going on? You know, I'm sure there's those questions that's going on in Fowler's mind right now.
You hear him talk about that post-race interviews, Rodney, about how big it is when you can see that guy who is a position ahead of you. And in the same breath, how big it is when you can't see them, especially you get to this point in the race. You know, you're exhausted. You just want to see the checkered flag. But when you see that rider, that breath of fresh air, that rejuvenation in your mind, that, hey, I can do this, and that guy's within sights, and I can catch him. If you can't see him, it's just you battling yourself mentally at that point on that island, and it gets tough for him.
It does. Those islands, I mean, they're good to be on sometimes, but then, you know, you get by yourself and you get out there in la-la land sometimes. Mile marker number 10, I think we're past the 10 now and pushing towards the 11. That is still Bryce and Neil out front, and the gap has closed back up, but, you know, he still can't see him out there. I mean, maybe a glimpse there, maybe he saw him. He's got some fans out there telling him to go. He's not far ahead, but, you know, again, the big question right now is 13 seconds.
Here we go.
Man, Bryson is certainly on a, we got trouble in the pit area, looks like. Is this one of our front runners? I do not believe it is. No, that's just some lap traffic, one of our amateur riders, it looks like. But those kind of things like that are what change and can change the face of a race out here in the blink of an eye. Is this Jared McClure, your third place rider, checking in now, doing the epic stuff? And it looks like he's there's the fourth place ride. That is 733 Cole Richardson, Coltrane, got a different color back, and there goes the fourth and fifth and sixth place ride right behind him. Yeah, and a cloud of dust. I think John Glotto was in that mix of riders, and Devin Feehan also. So I think that was Devin and John we saw coming out behind Cole Richardson there just a moment ago. So Richardson's moved up a spot or two as well. So that puts him in. And Hunter Hart was in that mix too, so not sure exactly where he fell into that one. Couldn't quite see, like a big cloud of dust.
Got a little hung up right there, did Walker Fowler, behind some lap traffic, but able to inch his way around. Be interesting to see where Neil is at, see if Walker's picked up any ground or made up any ground.
You know, whenever that happens, that little stutter, and then whenever that rider just barely darts to the left a little bit, Walker darts to the right, it's like a bullet coming out of a gun, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they have such explosive speed on these machines right now. And to have that kind of speed, to have that kind of power out there, and the performance these riders have at 2+ hours of racing in some of the most adverse conditions is pretty amazing. I mean, and you know, we say it a lot, and not to keep beating a dead horse, but Mark Knopman, who does so many of these pro riders' bikes, and several other pro riders or several other mechanics out there that work so diligently, and even those guys that do it themselves, man. I mean, our hats off to them, because it takes a lot of work to keep these machines running at this level for this long through 13 races.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, you think bike setup is such an enormous part of racing now. And Caitlin Osborne was talking about that. You know, she had made a few adjustments on the bike before this race, and she came out and got her first win of the year. So it's huge. I mean, it definitely matters. You can't just come out here at the pro level, run a stock bike, and expect to have great success right off the bat. You gotta have a good guy in your corner. Mark Notman right now, hey, he's got 2 riders sitting in the – well, take it back. McClure is technically in 3rd, so he had 2 riders in the top 3. Don't count Hunter Hart out just yet.
Well, as we look back to the XC2 Pro-Am class to see how – white flag is out, by the way. White flag is out as Bryson Neal checks in. Jay Shadron still leading the XC2 class, by the way. Wyatt Wilkin 44 seconds back. They have 3 minutes over Steve Harrell going into lap 4. Tanner Walker in 4th. Dylan Walraven rounding out the top 5. Then Grayson Eller, Daniel Peters, Albert Jadis, Brandon Owens, and Nick Royalty, your top 10 in that XC2 Pro-Am class. And the XC1 class again, Neal and Fowler have checked in with 4 laps complete. We'll see how this one sorts out. Last time through, it was Hunter Hart 1 minute and 6 seconds back in 3rd, with Jared McClure in 4th, Evan Feehan in 5th, and Cole Richardson in 6th. John Galata Jr. was running 7th in that 3rd through 7th place position. Those 5 riders were 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, basically nose to tail going through the finish line at the end of lap 3.
Bryson Neal on screen, kicking up dust as he heads back into the woods. And rolling right now. I mean, rolling. Had Walker Fowler obviously check in there. We'll see. Got the pit board from Mark Notman, as we were just talking about him. And here we go. We'll see if Walker Fowler wants to push and maybe put in a fight for a P1 today, or settle for 2nd place and live to fight another day.
Well, again, you know, I think, you know, being the championship caliber rider and minded rider he is, yes, I think, you know, Walker, you know, he doesn't want to settle for P2, but he knows it works, and it's part of the formula. It's part of what wins championships. But at the same time, there is that sense of, and I wouldn't even call it ego, maybe in a sense, but there is that sense of personal defeat, deflation, you know, having this happen. But, you know, we have seen these things happen before, and the thing that we need to point out, you know, and we're not dogging on Walker and saying his back's against the wall, he's getting the tar beat out of him.
Right.
And it may seem and appear that, but this is the kind of things that fuels Walker's to come back in, say, 2 weeks when we hit Camp Coker. He'll come back with a mission. He'll come back with, to make a statement. And oftentimes he's able to make that happen. And it'll be exciting to see what Camp Coker brings, especially if Bryson Neal does take this win today. And either way, if Walker Fowler makes it 3 wins in a row, what kind of fire is that going to ignite in Bryson Neal or anyone else out there?
Big time. Another thing, Rodney, I think seeing a level of maturity out of Bryson Neal. You know, how many times have we seen him in this situation where he's got the lead and he's pushing, and he pushes a little too hard and ends up, you know, going down, coming off the machine, and creates an opportunity for Walker Fowler or somebody else to come in there and take a win away from him. I think right now we're seeing the new Bryson Neal, who is a little more composed, a little more mature as a pro rider.
We can rebuild him. He's the $6 million man. Got the bionic knee out there. No, in reality, you know, we came into the season so many unanswered questions. The biggest question, though, I think may have been, did it take the wind out of his? You know, and I think most people, he's probably healthy, he's trained, but what about the mental side of it? Will it slow him down? Will he take those? Will he make those pushes? Will he ride that edge? You know, and I think the question has pretty much been answered. I mean, he seems to not be afraid of the edge still.
Right.
And actually, I'll be honest, he seems to have a little more control over the edge now.
I think so too. It's interesting, and it's not like a catch-all for the pro riders, because I think everybody approaches injuries and how they rehab them differently. You got Bryson Neal, who I asked him, I said, you know, you're sitting at home, obviously not here at the track. Were you watching races? No, absolutely not. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to watch knowing I couldn't be out there. You flip that, you got guys like Stu Baylor, and they're like, I'm here, I'm at the track, I'm bringing the rig, I'm bringing the family, I'm going to contribute to Racer TV. And what works for one guy may not work for the other one. Whatever Bryson Neal did in the offseason, it works for him. And what he did to rehab from injury, mentally, not physically side of it, but the mental side worked for him.
Interestingly, Bryson Neal has an old-school GNCC racer mentality about the way he approaches things. I mean, the quietness, and he might inherit that a little bit from watching the way Walker has composed himself over recent years, and obviously that big surprise coming into the season, you know, take the guys by storm and by surprise at the same time, and that might be what he's, you know, still working under. I know his dad comes from that old school era, Chris Neal as well, so, you know, it kind of makes sense, even though he is kind of a younger rider, that he may be a little like that, kind of like what Walker Fowler is. But these new kids, they're all about the social media. You know what's going on all the time with those guys.
That's true.
But Walker Fowler still laying chase to Bryson Neal. Bryson Neal still trying to lay chase to a checker flag that seems to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 minutes or so from his grasp right now.
It's looking good. You know, we can't be biased. We can't root for a specific rider, but selfishly, as a race fan, as a commentator, I kind of want to see at this point Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal just trade off wins.
Right.
Let's take it to Ironman at the end of the year, and whoever wins it wins it.
Wow, look at that beautiful South Carolina countryside. You can see all the pine trees, but more importantly, look at the sway that those pine trees have going on. No leaves really coming onto the trees yet, so that's why we can see down through a good portion of these wooded areas. We might have another race or two where we'll be fortunate like that before spring actually springs or has sprung, and it'll get a little tighter to see through some. But man, I love this time of year for GNCC racing, especially from a Yamaha live drone aspect.
It's pretty solid. Meanwhile, there's places up, I think, West Virginia area, actually. You guys getting snow up there, I saw.
Hush your mouth.
I know, right? And they're talking about driving through the snow tomorrow night, and I'm like, no, I looked at radar. I got to go up through the Smokies and, you know, Kentucky, Indiana. So I think I'm okay. I think it'll pass me, but
I'm waiting till Monday. By the time I get home Monday, hopefully it'll be
clear out,
yep.
Be all right.
Well, look, it was about time to mow when I left the house last time, man.
I got a feeling when I get back, I'll be mowing.
Out mile marker number 3, our monster mile, as we wait on the leaders. Again, expecting Bryson Neal to check in with about that 21, 22 second gap back to Walker Fowler. It's been remaining a lot the same the last couple of times we checked it, but more lapped riders ahead. Yeah, left ahead of Bryson Neal right here, so you got to wonder if this might change things up a little bit. Disappeared out of the sight there at 152.50.
241. Oh,
there we go. And wow, so if I'm counting it right, it's not much over 10 seconds now. So Walker Fowler has bridged that gap up a little bit. And that lap traffic there, you're seeing Walker cut his way through right now, might be part of the reason why. But, you know, here we are. We're in race management right now for Bryson Neal. Remember, it was a lapped rider that took him out of last season's championship run at his home track in Ohio. And, of course, this being the final lap, and he's trying to make things happen here in the deep, deep South and take his second win of the 2022 season. Bryson Neal continues to lead Walker Fowler, and the war wages on for third between McClure, Richardson, Feehan, Hunter Hart, and John Glotta. Who's going to win that one? Who's going to win the overall? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues from the Tiger Run after this.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, Because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes here in Union, South Carolina, as we take a look back to 1 year ago to our fourth round of racing here at the Big Buck Farm. And a lot like what we're seeing here today, a lot of competition in the air and a lot of angst and excitement. Though last year it was Walker Fowler and Chris Borch battling it out for the early lead in this one. Fowler taking over the lead. Borch at that particular time looking still pretty strong. And back there we saw Jared McClure battling it out. A good start there as well by the 5:21 of Adam McGill. But as this race wore on, as always, Walker Fowler establishes himself as the dominant factor in the race. But there is that always one rising star out there, if you will, and that was Bryson Neal as he laid chase to that first place position. As the gap had opened up, it quickly began to shrink down, and before you knew it, Bryson Neal was trying to position himself into the number one spot. McClure right behind him there as they continued to, or actually that was Cole Richardson there on the number 3 last year as they continued to wage war in that one. But man, Neal just continued to do what he needed to do there 1 year ago, as it seems he may be doing here this year, as he rode the number 2 last year back to the familiar amateur number of 241. It was only a couple of rounds after this round of racing he was out for the season. But when the checkers finally flew on this one 1 year ago in our look back to 2021, Bryson Neal took the checker flag. Cole Richardson finishing up in the number 2 spot. It was Walker Fowler in 3rd. 4th place going to Hunter Hart, and Chris Borch rounded out the top 5. And unfortunately for Chris Borch, as we watch Bryson Neal celebrate, might be looking at a deja vu here this year. Unfortunately for Chris Borch, I believe he had some issues, you told me there, off the start, if I'm not mistaken. He has checked in a 9th place position with 3 laps. I believe he's got his 4th lap incomplete now. Actually, Chris Borch has dropped to 12th with only 3 laps in. So whatever was ailing him in the early part of the race must have ailed him late in the race as well. As we are approaching the 2-hour mark on the race clock right now. Leaders due in about 13 minutes, and I figured out where I did my miscalculations.
Oh,
I feel so stupid. I'm not even going to expose my dumb. It wasn't dumb. It was just a mistake. We all make those.
A brain fart, if you will.
But yeah, so we're still looking right now, as we said, at about a 2-hour and 10-minute race. And Bryson Neal due in at about 12 minutes and 30 seconds. So, or the leader anyway. Walker, it could be Walker Fowler again, as he was only about 20 seconds or so behind Bryson Neal. Jared McClure in that 4th place position. Cole Richardson, Jared McClure in 3rd. Cole Richardson in 4th. Devin Feehan in 5th. Hunter Hart in 6th. And Glada in 7th. Again, that battle continuing to wage there between those riders. And it's the battle for the final podium spot. Those guys are well over 2 minutes behind the battle up front. Just to give you an idea, 25:52 and a 25:56 for Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler. Everyone else, well, 27-minute mark or slower. 26:59 for Jared McClure last time around. Everyone else, 27 minutes, 27:02, 27:06, 27:06. So, wow, Neal and Fowler, I mean, you know, you hate to say it, but at least today these riders are on a whole different level.
Yeah.
And when they hook up like this, they seem to rise to that whole new level every time, Mikey. So
yeah.
Being in that third place position, if you could just latch on and be with them as they go, you know that it would be tough to run that pace, but how much could you learn in a situation like that?
Yeah, no doubt. That was one of the things Devin Feehan, talking to his dad after Florida, talked about. He said Devin literally just started watching the guys who were finishing in front of him, watching the lines they picked, their riding style, and said, well, if they can do that, I can do that. So he just started giving it a shot. And, hey, fake it till you make it, or be scared doing it until it becomes a skill, whatever cliche you want to use. It worked for Devin Feehan. It works for all these guys. There's no doubt. How's this, Rodney? I didn't even think about this. Big buck this year. It was Bryson Neal first, Walker Fowler second, Jared McClure third. Here we go. Again,
wow.
It's looking like it might be an identical finish here just a month later.
Yeah. Well, we've hit the 2-hour mark now. Bryson Neal did get his fuel, so we are in good order there. So fuel shouldn't be an issue. There should be no issues between now and the finish line, except for 8 minutes of terrain, maybe 10 minutes or so of terrain and lap traffic. And that could be the nail in the coffin for some. It might be the springboard for others as we wait now here at the 7-mile marker. And Mikey Wayne's going to find his way down to the finish line and get ready for the celebrations. And I'm sure there's going to be some happy folks, some satisfied folks, and some folks that may be a little bit disappointed whenever they cross that finish line. But we'll see all the emotions, I believe, here at the finish of this one today. Again, looking back in that battle at the XC2 Pro-Am class, as we've been watching and keeping an eye on that one after 4 laps for those riders. Jay Shad still out in front, 1 minute and 8 seconds. There's another 4 minutes and 11 seconds back to third place. But how about this? Grayson Eller, who was running 7th place position for a big part of this race, has now checked in the 4th place position of the XC2 Pro-Am class. He's about 2 minutes 57, call it 3 minutes behind Harrell and a podium spot. But what a push by Eller on that Phoenix Racing machine. And, of course, Walraven in 5th, Tanner Walker in 6th, Daniel Peters in 7th, Albert Jadis in 8th, Brandon Owens in 9th, and Nick Royalty rounding out the top 10. That battle in the College A class of the Rising Stars of GNCC has been a heated one as well. Damian Hawkins, if you remember, grabbed the early lead on that one, had held on to the lead for the first lap or two, but now things have changed. James Glotta, Lane McCormick checking in with 4 laps each, 2 minutes 13 seconds back. Dalton Keys now up to third as Damian Hawkins has dropped back to at least 4th place position, and John Ashcraft rounds out your top 5 in that College A class right now. So we've got some really good barn burners going on, and have seen some good battles taking place and shaping up throughout this entire field of riders in this XC1, XC2, College A, and even some of these vet and junior classes as well. So right now, friends, we still wait here on our leaders. And there was that. The number 1 of Walker Fowler checking in. If so, did we miss Bryson Neal? And we're going to go back and check just to make sure that Bryson Neal wasn't missed. And if that's the case, we may be looking at some big changes. Remember? Well, just got some reports. So I believe that is Neal still out front. I'm hearing on the radio right now. This coming in from trail boss Ryan Eccles. He says, I don't know if he can catch him. This is a direct quote. I don't know if he can catch him, but Walker sure is giving it a good try right now. That's what Ryan Eccles said out here past the 7-mile marker. So Neal is still in that number 1 spot. Walker Fowler still in the number 2 spot. And still not real sure who's back in third. That could be changing, but we may be on target and marked for a repeat podium of what we saw from round number 1 here with Neal Fowler and, of course, that number 3 of Jared McClure, who finished third there in the first round. He backed that up with an 8th in Florida, a 6th in Georgia. So back in podium contention today as he's hoping to be able to do that and secure himself a little stronger in the overall point standings. As we looked at those point standings leading into this race and in the early part of the race, it is tight, to say the least, especially from about that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place positions. And surprisingly right now we're got a lot of the young riders up front in the point standings, and consistency could be king here in 2022 for these riders. Less than 6 minutes, I'm going to say in the neighborhood of about 5 minutes now. We wait, actually just under 6 now, so that's, I'm still thinking myself personally, we may see them in 5, so we'll see. They're moving at a pretty good click right now. Fowler and Neal and Fowler, I guess I should say, is the way we should put that down, as Walker Fowler trying to get through some of this lap traffic out here. Oh, wait a minute. I was like, that's not. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's Walker Fowler. And if that's the case, he's 5 minutes ahead. So we were not following Walker Fowler there. We were following somebody that looked pretty smooth out there. He's maybe he was a ghost. You know how you play video games? That's your ghost rider, and that's how. Yeah, well, anyway. 5 minutes ago is what I've got calculated out before our leaders should be checking in. We should see them here near this 10-mile marker before we see them at the finish line. And right now, folks, I'm wondering. I'm trying to do some figuring here. Richardson was only a couple of seconds back, and I tell you, he's due in for another good run, I think, here today. So I'm not going to count Richardson out. He's coming off of a 6.57 run through the first 3 rounds. So Cole Richardson might have a little bit to prove to himself as well as other folks. So be looking for that push here for that final podium spot out of the 7:33 as we approach the finish line for those guys as well. Now approaching nearly 2 hours and 7 minutes in our race. Our leaders due in about 4 minutes or so. And should be seeing them here at this 10-mile marker here in the next 30, 40 seconds. And then that final push down towards the finish line chicanes, and of course that finish line itself, where Ricky Towery will be waiting with a very welcomed checker flag for whomever is able to cross that finish line first, be it Bryson Neal, be it Walker Fowler, or even someone else here today at this Big Buck Farm, and of course the Tiger Run GNCC. Scan of some overalls real quick. James Glotta is currently running in a 15th place overall. That puts Lane McCormick in 20th place overall. He's 2 minutes 13 seconds back. And then it looks like third in the top amateurs, your junior A leader, Alex Alioff. And there is the 241, Bryson Neal, here at the 10-mile marker. So he's on his way home, folks. He is on his way home to Checkers. And another win here at Big Buck Farms, as Walker Fowler still back in that number 2 position. We're looking 15 to 20 seconds, the gap between those 2 riders right now, as Fowler winds his way through these closing moments, still laying chase to the number 241 of Bryson Neal, who hopes to secure the 2nd win of the season and tighten that points race right back up as we head to Camp Coker here in just a few weeks. Now, as we check from high above in our Yamaha live drone, Yamaha Racing presenting this, we are watching Walker Fowler, and we'll see whether or not he's able to close that gap on the 241 of Bryson Neal here in these closing sections as they charge toward the chicanes, the famous chicanes of GNCC Racing that sets the stage for that final push across that finish line that has presented us with so many glorious moments for riders and achievements for riders in their endeavors here in GNCC Racing. the blood, the sweat, the tears that these riders all put forth. And that checker flag certainly makes it so much sweeter as Bryson Neal, a little less than a year ago, and a year ago didn't realize his season was going to be cut short. And when that happened, we didn't know what was going to happen when he came back. But as he comes back, we can see that he comes back on top, and Bryson Neal winds his way toward the finish line. And his second win of 2022, as we said, Walker Fowler back in that number 2 spot. Still a little more trail to traverse. Still a few more lapped riders to traverse and make his way around before we can lay claims to his second win of the season. But nonetheless, he has certainly got himself in a great position as the wins pick up here. Are these the winds of change we were talking about? Will we see a new rider leaning into the championship points lead over the next couple of rounds? Will Bryson Neal be, for now, the man to beat in the coming future? Will Walker Fowler be able to rise to the occasion in the future? Will he be able to make things happen here in the closing moments of this Tiger Run GNCC? And Bryson Neal on his way into the checker flag is the radio reports that we are getting, as still Walker Fowler lays chase. And the closing moments of this 2022 Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC are well upon us, folks. And a champion of the day will be crowned in a race taking over 2 hours and 10 minutes to complete, as now we have Neal into these chicanes through the final turns and to the checkers. Bryson Neal takes win number 2 of the season and win number 2 here at the Big Buck Farms in 2022. Back in the number 2 spot, here comes the number 1 of Walker Fowler as he finishes up second place behind Bryson Neal. The update tells us 11.9 seconds. 25:50 lap time for Bryson Neal. Walker Fowler a 25:48. But folks, it doesn't stop there. The excitement's still in the air, as third place position should be coming within the next couple of minutes. They were 2 minutes 11 seconds back of Walker Fowler when they checked in at the end of lap number 4. But they were nose to tail on many occasions throughout these closing laps here at the Tiger Run GNCC, as we see Bryson Neal so fresh and so strong at the end of this 2 hour and 11 minute and 13 second race. Looks like he's got another lap in him. Mikey Waynes will be talking with him here in just a few moments. But again, we wait with bated breath. What is going to happen in that battle for that third place position? As we see Drew Landers down there, teammate from the 4x4 Pro class to the Magna 1 racer of Bryson Neal. Bryson's very happy. Big smiles all around, no doubt about that. Well-deserved, folks, I tell you. Again, you know, when we get to John Penton, and at that particular point, and from that point on in the season, so many questions that arose, and I'm sure so many doubts in the mind and the heart of Bryson Neal. Will I be able to come back from this? What will I be when I come back? Will I be able to win races? Will I be able to win a championship? Of course, he can win races. Championships are yet to be answered, but with a ride like what we saw Bryson Neal taking today, he's certainly positioning himself to be likely and possibly a champion in the near future. Notice our track crew down there in the Tiger striped uniforms that we have in honor of the Tiger Run GNCC this weekend. Got the fur babies down on the winner's circle. That is Bryson Neal's pup. And, of course, he's getting some words in with Mason Rader right now. We should be seeing here in the next few moments, any second, actually, our third place position popping out into view. At last check, it would have been Jerry McClure or Cole Richardson. And I believe it was McClure with Richardson not far behind. But things, they do a change here in GNCC racing, especially when you've got the intensity of a race like what we had in that battle for the final podium spot here. All righty, here they come out into the wide open. And that is, I believe that is the 733. We'll see as they close through the finish line and at the checkers and taking the final podium position finish now here at the Tiger Run GNCC. Cole Richardson with Devin Feehan on the number 7 and 4th, and still waiting on Jared McClure, if that's not him, checking in there to round out the top 5. But big changes there. That was John Glotta Jr. rounding out the top 5, but it is Cole Richardson taking that win for the battle for the final podium spot. Third place position. It wasn't a win, but it was a win inside his heart, no doubt about that. Speaking of wins, we'll head on down to the winner's circle, where Mikey Waynes is standing by in our specialized victory lane and ready to talk with our top 3 overall. And what a race for the ages today, to say the least, and what a battle up front, Mikey. I tell you, very exciting. We knew it was going to be coming into this round of racing, and we got more than we bargained for, I believe, my good friend. Mikey down there taking some photo ops in his uniform. Says he feels like a 1980s rapper or something. Needs to get him a big clock, some gold chains.
I'm ready.
All right, Mikey.
Let's do it.
I seen you doing the photo ops down there, man.
It's just all over the place, man. It's been crazy. Hey, this guy's a celebrity today. Bryson Neal, man, taking P1. A fantastic race. Hey, we saw Walker Fowler take a splash of fuel. We didn't see Bryson Neal do it late. We thought, is that going to be the difference maker? You were able to get in there, get the pit, and hang on to the win. Tell us about the ride, man.
Yeah, man. Whenever I saw Walker, I looked back and I saw him hit the splash of gas. I looked down the pro row. My dad, he wasn't ready, and I was like, oh, gosh. I was like, I know Walker's going to try everything he can to get to my grab bar. That's the obvious game plan, get to my grab bar. When I pit the next lap, make the pass. So I sprinted. I put my head down, tried to maintain that gap. So whenever I pitted, I could get back out into the lead. Was able to do it. Had a great start today, 4th going to the woods. Made pass on Hunter pretty early, about a couple miles in. Got in a 3rd. Jared, he was smoking. His bike wasn't running. I don't know if he finished today, but, man, his bike was smoking, and he kind of pulled up, let me by. And then we was able to track down Walker and ride with him. We was ripping good, had a good pace, and then I actually didn't even mean to pass him. My line that I took just so happened that it was way faster, and I came out ahead. I was like, okay, I didn't expect that, but here we go. So then we pitted, and I just try to maintain the gap all day. You know, my whole crew did a great job giving me the splits and helped me maintain the gap. And Big Buck was perfect, or not Big Buck, but Tiger Run was perfect today. And I love this place. I love the track. I love the flow, and we're pumped to get this win.
You must love this track. Hey, before we go to second place, I'm going to turn things over. We have Carol Baskins with us presenting Bryson Neal with the overall trophy. You guys make some noise for Bryson Neal.
Bryson, today you are the Tiger King.
Rodney, I will say she gave me permission to say that. So before everybody at home freaks out, that was Carrie Joe's idea, not mine.
Okay, all you cool cats and kittens, as he is now the Tiger King. You've never seen Tiger King and Carol Baskins that friendly before, though. I'll promise you that. Bryson Neal, what a well of a ride today at the Tiger Run, huh? How about that? But nonetheless, man, good crowd down there to help celebrate that one, no doubt, as we'll be talking with Walker Fowler next. Walker putting on a super race today, doing exactly what he needed to do again. Not quite what he wanted, I'm sure, and what he'd hoped for and expected, but hey, it pays the bills and it keeps him right where he needs to be in this hunt for championship number 8 here for 2022. And, of course, again, that third-place battle won by Cole Richardson. 2 seconds behind him was Devin Feehan, another 9 seconds back. John Glotta Jr., Junior Glotta, rounding out the top 5 here in the XC1. And there is Walker Fowler, second place, standing by with Mikey Waynes.
Thanks, guys. Hey, down here with Walker Fowler. Walker kind of settling in there for P2 today, but I got to think you're not too downhearted about this. We know you want that win, want to make it 3 in a row, didn't quite make it happen today.
No, got off to a decent start. Adam was at a pretty good pace. Knew that it was a little bit faster of a track than it was the first time we were here, and significantly drier. And I just missed the setup. I wasn't expecting it to be so dry. And I think the first time we were here, I kind of missed the setup. I had a better bike, but I just couldn't get around them. And today was the opposite. I had the better machine for the conditions, and I just, at the pit and had to make a stop in the woods. I had mud in my goggles. I never did get it out. And he had about 10 seconds on me and stayed there about all day. I tried to get close, and he'd get some lappers between us. And then, I know that he had to fight. So I'd run back in, and he'd get 4 or 5 between us, and then I had to deal with them myself. So yeah, it was just it was a day where, like I said, I missed that up. But yeah, it just wasn't perfect. And like I said earlier this year, can't make any mistakes. I made a couple and just had to ride around 50% and just, hope I got lucky, and I didn't get lucky today.
There you go. There is your second place finisher, Walker Fowler.
Walker Fowler taking second, and like you said, a little miss on the setup, but I tell you, it wasn't too much of a miss. I mean, you look at it on the clock, it says 11.9 seconds. That's still a pretty good pace he was able to run under the adverse conditions that he was faced with today. I'll tell you what, talk about conditions faced with. Cole Richardson faced with a whale of a battle out there in that number 3 position. Devin Feehan, John Glotta, Hunter Hart, all right there working with him. Jared McClure is in the thick of that one, too. 5 riders literally in a gloves-off slugfest battling for that final podium position, and they came down to it. It was about 3 minutes and 10 seconds that separated him from second place, but more importantly, to be able to come out on top of that battle felt like a win, and Cole Richardson, it's third place for him, but, man, he feels like a champion today, Mikey.
Cole Richardson, man, P3 out there today in a heated battle. Man, I think at one point that was like a 4 or 5-way battle for that third place position. You come out on top in it, ended up on the podium.
Yeah, I wish we could have got a better start. We was actually dead last off the start in the second corner. A couple guys came together. I think it was Borch that actually wrecked right in front of me and pushed me wide. So we went in the woods about dead last, and it was a little dusty in the fields. The woods were nice, but there wasn't many options. The track was pretty fast, so you had to get pretty risky there to make a few passes, and we was able to reel that whole pack in there. And got a little worried there for a while. Picked off Junior and ended up picking off 2 more with a split line with a couple lappers. And, I knew Jared looked like he's getting a little gassed out there. And, again, we got another couple lappers. He took a line. I cut up the inside of the other and was able to get him. And, just be able to get P3 on the weekend.
Good day. There you go, you guys. Third place, Cole Richardson.
Well, there you have it, folks. And what a great performance by Cole Richardson, able to make things happen after the misfortunes there on lap 1. By the way, looks like Jay Sadron will take the win in the XC2 Pro-Am class. They'll also finish up in the 8th place position overall. Wyatt Wilkin takes 10th overall. He's second in the XC2 Pro-Am. It looks like Steve Harrell will likely be third in the class, finishing about 15th overall. But there you have it, our top 10 results board there for the overall. Neal, Fowler, Richardson, Feehan, Glotta, your top 5, Hunter Hart, and McClure. And I tell you again, folks, those 5 that raced from 3rd through 7th place, they were swapping it out. And they've got some more bones to pick, I'm sure, as the season wears on. We're going to see more out of that, and we're going to see more out of the battle between Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler as this 2022 championship rolls on. But that's going to wrap things up for today. Inviting you to come back with us tomorrow as we back on the two-wheel side of things for the Dunlop Tires Tiger Run GNCC. On behalf of all of us here at RacerTV.com, I'm Rodney Tomlin with Mikey Waynes. Have a great day, everybody.